Chapter 861. What was an emperor? It was an existence that commanded the world. It controlled the universe and had the cycle of the sun and moon in its heart. The way of the emperor was the most powerful way. If one knelt, their emperor's Tao would crumble, and their beliefs would crumble. An emperor who knelt could no longer be considered a true emperor. Even if they cultivated the emperor's Tao, they would still be at the lowest level. They would never be able to reach the top. Once one cultivated the emperor's way, they would have to have the will to die standing and not kneel to live. Even if they were facing an unstoppable elite, they would have to have an unshakable supreme will. In the void, the wind and snow gathered, and the pressure rolled down like a tidal wave. Under this pressure, it was as if one's entire body was being rejected by the world outside. All of a sudden, Tian was like a broken ship in the middle of a vast ocean. The terrifying pressure fell on his shoulders and pressed down on his body. The bones all over his body could not help but let out a crisp sound. Oomph. You want to kneel? Even if you are an unparalleled elite, don't even think about it. Tian, only kneel to my parents. Who do you think you are? Tian's face was full of sarcasm. His personality was to be amenable to coaxing, but not coercion. The more coercion, the more he would resist. A man in the world should be courageous. Those without blood were no different from walking corpses. Don't say that a woman's heart is wrapped in a man's body. You are strong, but I am stronger. Under the Black Emperor's robe, one could see that all over his body, muscles that were full of power were surging. They were constantly wriggling, like a horned dragon shuttling back and forth in his body. A vast power burst forth, revealing a mountain-like aura. Stepping on the Celestial Emperor's war chariot, his body was as straight as a pine tree. One could clearly see that the void outside Tian's body was distorted inch by inch, and countless terrifying ripples were rippling out. The pressure of an unparalleled elite could even distort the void. It was clear that he was under terrible pressure. Oomph. The immemorial 9 dragons, the Celestial Emperor's war chariot. I can't believe the demon race has a genius like you. An indifferent voice rang out in the air. There was no emotion in that voice, but the temperature in the air dropped several times in an instant. Drops of water turned into ice in the air, and layers of white frost spread out. Wherever the frost spread, thick ice crystals would form out of thin air. In the ice domain, a ball of wind and snow suddenly blew into the air and gathered together to form a body. She was wearing a snow-white dress. Even her hair was snow-white. She wore a crown of ice and snow on her head. She looked indescribably noble. There was a plum blossom mark between her eyebrows. She looked cold and noble, like an empress of ice and snow. However, her face was abnormally blurry, as if there was a ball of fog that could not be dispersed. It made it impossible for others to see his true appearance clearly. Even if they could see it clearly, their memories would become blurry and they would forget it. Her tall and slender figure made her look even more noble and perfect. She had a kind of holiness that people could only look at from afar and not dare to profane. Her entire figure was like a ripe peach, extremely alluring. Her cold temperament added a sense of conquest to her. However, at this moment, this mysterious woman looked coldly at Tian. Who are you? The purple mark between Tian's eyebrows flashed with purple light. The heaven punishment divine eyes delusion breaker power was automatically activated. It was strange that the fog was so strange that even the delusion breaker divine I seemed to have difficulty breaking through the fog. However, the heaven punishment divine eye's power had increased greatly when he was promoted to an ancient celestial demon. He broke through the fog on her face and saw her true appearance under the fog. Even though he had seen many beautiful women with his own eyes, he still couldn't help but be surprised. Under the fog, there was a cold face that was as white as jade, just like Snow White. She did not seem to be inferior to Chun-Shi and Bai Hu. However, Tian still collected his thoughts in an instant and did not avoid her gaze. The Emperor's aura naturally enveloped his whole body. He said in a deep voice, I don't think I have any enmity with you. Before today, I have never seen you face to face. I don't know why you're spying on me secretly and even trying to suppress me." His body emitted a dignified aura. In his words, he did not show any sign of weakness. Instead, he revealed a tough attitude. There was a hint of meaning in his words. "Even if you really want to suppress me, I will not give up without putting up a fight. If we really fight, I may not be afraid of you." He had a lot of trump cards. If he really used all of them, he may not be afraid of her. Strength was a foundation. With a foundation, one would have confidence in speaking. "You have the aura of myriad tribulation. You are myriad tribulation's pawn." The woman whose entire body was shrouded in ice and snow glanced at Sakura's body and said indifferently, "Myriad tribulation. That old bastard has been reborn, but he wants to use some treasures to resist the disaster. He has attached all of his myriad tribulation true force to the treasures so that I can't detect them. He wants to wait for the day of his rebirth to harvest his pawns. Dream on. Today I, the Ice Empress, will destroy this pawn of yours, then move to kill the others. Let's see how you can hide from me." The Ice Emperor slowly spat out a sentence. The gaze he used to look at Indra revealed a glint, as if he was looking at a dead person. "Ice Empress, damn it. This woman is the Ice Empress, the Ice Empress. Madman D, you must be careful. This Ice Empress has been entangled with myriad tribulation ancestor since the ancient times. Back then, her cultivation had already reached the late stage of the unparalleled realm. Her ice soul mysterious art is peerlessly domineering. In the ancient times, very few people dared to provoke her. No, the ruler's token is still there. How could she attack? This isn't her real body. It's just a doppelganger formed by ice and snow." Dark had amazing experience. The underworld emperor who followed him was also a fierce god. He was very knowledgeable. He immediately realized that the one in front of him wasn't the real body of the Ice Empress, but a doppelganger. This doppelganger only had the aura of an unparalleled expert. However, her true cultivation strength shouldn't have reached that level. Instead, it should be at the peak of the ancient giant realm. As the Ice Empress, she wouldn't dare to openly challenge the authority of the ruler's token. "Pawn. I'm just a pawn." Inexplicably, an intense anger surged in Sakura's heart. His pupils violently contracted and narrowed into a line. The scene of countless treasures spitting out from the door of myriad tribulations in the myriad tribulations cave flashed through his mind. Given myriad tribulations' ancestor status, he had actually specially given away treasures. This situation clearly smelled of an open conspiracy back then. Back then, he had instinctively sensed the smell of a conspiracy. However, he couldn't give up on the treasures he obtained from the myriad tribulation door. Now, they were completely integrated into the 7 sins demonic zither. Even more so, he couldn't give them up. Pawn? Even I, D. Shirtion, am a pawn. Very well, let's see how this pawn jumps out of the chessboard. If the real body came, I would still be afraid of you. However, this is just a doppelganger. Even if it's the doppelganger of an unparalleled expert, so what? If you really piss me off, I can even poke a hole in the sky. Ice Empress, you're looking for myriad tribulation ancestor. Why do you have to make things difficult for me? D. Shirtion looked at the Ice Empress with a deep voice. There was no fear on his face. His right hand had already landed on Tiger Soul's slender hilt without warning. Cut the crap. Those who are related to the myriad tribulation will all die. The Ice Empress said indifferently. As soon as she finished speaking, she waved her right sleeve. Whoosh! A gust of wind and snow blew. Countless wind and snow gathered in the void, and crescent-shaped ice blades appeared like a tide. In the blink of an eye, they gathered into a dense ice blade storm. It spun violently, bringing along the ice blades. The cold wind brought with it a bone-piercing chill. It roared directly at D. Shirtion. The terrifying ice blades cut the void into countless pieces. The space in a land of chaos was so strong that only an ancient powerhouse could break it. This ice blade storm could even cut the void into pieces. From this, one could see how powerful it was. Even if an ancient powerhouse was caught in it, they would be crushed into pieces by the countless ice blades. You want to kill me? then I will kill you first. Sakura could see with a glance that the Ice Emperor's first move was a killing move. This was to kill him, on the spot. A cold, killing intent emerged in his heart. So what if you're an unparalleled expert? Since you want to kill me, then I will kill you. Heavenly Emperor's chariot, Tion shouted. Traces of cold light shot out from his eyes. He pushed the chariot forward. Roar, roar, roar. The 5 primordial fierce dragons, pulling the chariot, immediately became ferocious. They glared at the Ice Empress and roared loudly. Among them, the primordial flame dragon spat out a mouthful of crimson primordial fierce fire. It turned into countless ferocious small fire dragons and crashed into the ice blade storm. When the ice and fire collided, a terrifying roar was heard. The void exploded violently, and countless cracks appeared. Countless bolts of lightning struck the storm. The storm exploded on the spot. Clang! Tion moved his wrist, and the tiger soul came out of its scabbard. A golden saber light pierced through the sky. Ultimate Emperor, immortal body. His body shook, and 6 immortal divine rings appeared from his flesh and blood. A huge amount of flesh and blood energy quickly gathered in the tiger soul. Sadness, joy, anger, fear, and many more. Endless, undying obsessions swept toward the Ice Empress like a tide. Between heaven and earth, all kinds of desires ran rampant. Ultimate Emperor Tao, God and Demon Morning. 3,000 divine demons appeared out of thin air and quickly absorbed the yuan qi of heaven and earth. In an instant, they returned to the tiger soul. A vast amount of divine demon power was applied to the saber. Roar, 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 roar. The aura of the saber instantly rose to the level of an unparalleled expert. Kill! Sakura coldly spat out a word. The cold killing intent actually caused the void around him to collapse. Roar! Roar! He turned the saber, and the tiger soul drew a dazzling arc in the air. He slashed at the Ice Empress' snow-white neck. So what if you're a woman? Today, I'm going to go against the heavens. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chijian.com. I support the author. I support the original reading. Chapter 862. Do you have a ticket? Raise it. The death of the gods and demons. With the power of 3,000 gods and demons, the power of the tiger soul had surpassed the limit of an ancient giant. It had stepped into the realm of an unparalleled expert. Crack! The saber was wrapped in a golden saber light as it cut through the void inch by inch. The trajectory of the tiger soul was so slow that it could be seen with the naked eye. It was so slow that it was comparable to a crawling tortoise. One could almost see that the space under the saber was being cut open inch by inch. The void was like a piece of tofu. At the same time, the death intent in the saber swept through the world. Under the saber, there was a terrifying will that no one could dodge. The saber contained countless moves. As long as one moved, it would be like a thunderbolt. There was nowhere to hide. Moreover, it wasn't slow. Instead, it was fast. It was so fast that even time couldn't capture its true figure. Almost instantly, the tiger soul appeared in front of the Ice Empress' snow-white neck. He didn't show any mercy when he attacked. What a monster emperor. The Ice Empress didn't expect Tion to be able to unleash such a terrifying attack with a single saber. The various undying obsessions had invaded her body in an instant. Her mind was affected, and all kinds of desires kept surging. However, she was extraordinary. She cultivated the ice, soul, mystic skill, which could calm her mind and focus her mind. She suppressed it. Looking at the threatening saber, she sneered. She stretched out her hand and drew a crack in the void in front of her. She stretched her hand into the crack and retracted it in the blink of an eye. At the same time, a crescent-shaped crescent blade appeared in her hand. The crescent blade flew into the air and arrived first, appearing out of nowhere at the tip of Tiger Soul's blade. Clang! The Tiger Soul and the crescent blade collided. An extremely cold aura was emitted from the crescent blade. The blade was extremely sharp and blocked the Tiger Soul. The surrounding space collapsed with a loud bang, and countless destructive forces burst forth. Within the crescent blade, a burst of astonishing cold energy instantly rushed into the tiger's soul. A layer of frightening ice crystals suddenly covered the tiger's soul blade. At the same time, it rapidly followed the blade's body and was transmitted to Sakra's body. Move. Deshertion's wrist moved and shook fiercely. Instantly, the blade shook inch by inch and shattered a large area of ice crystals. At the same time, the blade turned and slashed towards Ice Emperor's arm. Clang! His left hand quickly landed on the Devil Punisher war spear and pulled it out. Inside his body, the Extreme King's Book of Shocking World was running like crazy. Vast Extreme King's true power kept pouring into the spear. First Devil Slayer strike. The tip of the battle spear turned, and an astonishing force burst out from his arm, and he fiercely thrust it forward. The Demon Slayer battle spear pierced through the void and headed straight for the Frost Emperor's heart. Roar! The 5 immemorial ferocious dragons were even more ferocious. They roared as they pulled the Celestial Emperor's chariot towards the Ice Emperor. This spear pierced through space on the spot, blasting open a terrifying tunnel that extended to an unknown location. Moon Crystal Wheel break. The Ice Emperor stood in the void, her entire body unmoving. All she did was say that, and the Moon Crystal Wheel immediately revolved around her, dancing at lightning speed. It almost slashed at the Tiger Soul and the Devil Punisher War Spear. In an instant, the 2 battle weapons were torn apart. Lunatic D, that's the Ice Emperor's treasure, the Moon Crystal Wheel. It's a high-grade natural spirit treasure. It contains extremely violent and overbearing cold-yin chi. It's extremely sharp. Once one is injured by it, the cold-yin chi will enter one's body. It can instantly freeze one into an ice sculpture and completely seal all life. Ming reminded loudly. In ancient times, this Moon Crystal Wheel could be said to be a terrifying killing weapon. It was infamous for its ferocity. The Ice Emperor's eyes flashed coldly. She said coldly, "Good, good, good. You're just an early-stage heavenly demon from ancient times, but you're already so powerful. You're comparable to a peak heavenly demon. However, you should also receive this Emperor's Moon Burial Heavenly Dance." As soon as she finished speaking, instantly, the Ice Emperor's perfect waist began to twist and turn with astonishing charm. The Moon Crystal Wheel in her hands kept spinning. She held it as if she was holding a crescent moon. She began to dance. An unimaginable sense of beauty appeared between heaven and earth, blooming with endless divine light. Every time she waved her sleeves, every time she turned, it brought about endless charm that made heaven and earth pale in comparison. There was a kind of sad beauty and holiness in the dance. Dance with the moon. Swoosh, swoosh. As the Moon Burial Heavenly Dance began, one could clearly see the Moon Crystal Wheel rise inch by inch like the moon at dusk. In the blink of an eye, it hung in the void and turned into a sad and beautiful crescent moon. The crescent moon, along with the Ice Emperor's dance, produced a strange rhythm. Inconceivably, it split into 2. It turned into 2 crescent moons. The crescent moons' auras were almost identical. They burst forth with the light of the crescent moon. But that was not the end. The 2 crescent moons split again, from 2 to 4 crescent moons. In the blink of an eye, crescent moons appeared in the sky above the bedlam. 10 crescent moons, 100 crescent moons, 1,000 crescent moons. In the void, the Ice Emperor danced like Chang-Yi from the Moon Palace. Bathed in the moonlight of the crescent moons, there was an aura of holiness that could not be blasphemed. Moon burial. Rumble. The crescent moons hanging in the void suddenly fell, smashing directly toward the Celestial Emperor's chariot where Deshertion was. The crescent moon was incomparably huge, at least tens of thousands of feet tall. When it came crashing down, it was like a star. It drew a sad and beautiful moonlight in the air. Crazy D, this is the Ice Emperor's Moon Burial Dance. She's really ruthless. She actually used such a terrifying battle skill. When her avatar uses it, Each crescent moon has a terrifying power that is comparable to a peerless expert. She's clearly trying to kill you. However, once she uses this move, her celestial dance will not stop. She has the protection of the crescent moons, which is her strongest point, but also her weakest point. Kill her, quickly kill her, and the moon burial heavenly dance will naturally be destroyed. Nether roared crazily, almost turning the entire Nether prison upside down. The moon burial dance was the dance that had killed hundreds of millions of demon gods and sealed them in ice. Bam! The falling crescent moon instantly smashed into the Celestial Emperor's chariot. Rumble! The Celestial Emperor's chariot's magnificent canopy suddenly bloomed with dazzling divine light, bursting forth with hundreds of millions of rays of light. The entire chariot was completely protected by the rays of light. Then, the crescent moon exploded, erupting with endless crescent moons that instantly froze the void around it. The Celestial Emperor's chariot crashed to the ground with a loud bang. Layers of ice appeared around it, sealing the chariot in thick ice. Break! The Celestial Emperor's chariot shook violently, bursting with the Celestial Emperor's divine power, shattering the ice and breaking out of it. The miraculous power of a top-grade, innate spirit treasure was simply immeasurable. Under the impact of the crescent moon, it did not suffer any damage. However, as the chariot's owner, Deshirtion felt a terrifying attack in his body. His blood and chi churned violently. A trace of purple-gold blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. The impact of the crescent moon was unparalleled. Even with the Celestial Emperor's chariot's protection, it could not completely withstand the attack. It was a terrifying attack comparable to that of a peerless expert. If you want my life, you'll have to pay with your life. Today, I will go against the heavens, even if I'm severely injured. Kill! 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 Deshirtion had no intention of retreating. With a roar, the 5 primordial fierce dragons let out deafening dragon roars, revealing ferocious light. They soared into the sky, pulling the chariot as they charged ferociously toward the Ice Emperor in the void. The chariot was at least a few 100,000 feet away from the Ice Emperor. Rumble! Standing on the chariot, Deshirtion was awe-inspiring. He held the tiger soul in his hand, which still contained the power of 3,000 fiend gods. It was like a peerless weapon. It exuded an indomitable determination. Kill! 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 If you want my life, even if the heavens are in my way, I will go against the heavens. Even an ordinary man has the courage to kill. How can I let my good man's body wrap around a weak woman's heart? Crack! Ice Emperor's moon burial dance. The crescent moon fell from the sky. The crescent moons fell one after another, crashing toward the Celestial Emperor's chariot. They were so fast that they looked like crescent moons falling from the sky. Kill! The tiger's soul shot out a dazzling saber light that was several 100,000 feet long, slashing toward one of the crescent moons. The saber light from the tiger's soul split the crescent moons apart. It was cut in half. However, the terrifying impact from the crescent moon was reflected back on the spot, causing the Sakura's entire demonic body to tremble violently. The 6 immortal divine rings outside his body trembled unceasingly. Among them, the 6th ring flickered indeterminately as if it was about to be destroyed. Charge! The 5 primordial fierce dragons roared as they soared into the sky, pulling the chariot. The Celestial Emperor's chariot did not fall from the impact of the crescent moons. It charged toward the Ice Emperor. They could feel Deshirtion's will. If they did not advance, they would die. The crescent moons in the sky have never seen me retreat half a step. The Celestial Emperor's chariot was unstoppable as it faced the crescent moons. Crack! The tiger's soul slashed a crescent moon apart. It pulled out the Demon Slayer battle spear and pierced through a crescent moon, shattering it with a boom. The crescent moons fell like rain. A few of them even smashed onto the Celestial Emperor's chariot, but they were blocked by the Celestial Emperor's canopy and shattered into countless pieces. The entire Bedlam land seemed to have fallen into doomsday. Cough, cough. Deshirtion's body stood straight, and the immortal divine rings around him dimmed. He coughed out pieces of flesh and blood, but his eyes were unprecedentedly bright. Extreme Royal Imperial Seal, Demon God Seal, Tautai Seal, Blissful Seal, Emperor's Seal. Extreme Royal Creation Palm, stealing the heavens and swapping the sun, overturning the sea and sky. One after another, peerless battle techniques were unleashed crazily. The crescent moons were destroyed one by one. The celestial emperor's chariot was getting closer and closer to the Ice Emperor. 300,000 feet, 200,000 feet, 100,000 feet. Tion could clearly see the Ice Emperor's perfect body. My fate is in my hands. I have no complaints when I take the 10,000 tribulations treasure and enter the game. However, I will never be a chess piece. Even if I'm a chess piece, I will jump out of the game. Ice Emperor, you are just a clone. Even if your real body is here, I will still dare to defy you. Heavenly Punishment Divine Eye, open. Tion's eyes were calm and crazy. Every time he spat out a word, he coughed out a mouthful of flesh and blood. However, he was extremely excited, and he was filled with a heaven-defying battle intent. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chijian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 863. 100,000 feet. It was only 100,000 feet away. For an immemorial dragon, 100,000 feet was a distance that it could cross in a breath's time. Its huge dragon eyes could clearly see the Ice Emperor dancing in the void. At the same time, the crescent moons in the void were crashing down on the Heavenly Emperor's war chariot like raindrops. The moon burial heavenly dance was getting more and more urgent. Boom! Boom! The beautiful moonlight intertwined to form the moon burial heavenly dance. If it wasn't for the Heavenly Emperor's war chariot, Tion would have been smashed into pieces or frozen into an ice sculpture under the moon burial heavenly dance. His feet were connected to the war chariot. The immemorial dragon's ferocious nature intertwined with an indomitable determination. Heavenly Punishment Divine Eye, Annihilation. Tion's eyes were filled with a threatening divine light. Even though he was coughing up blood, his aura was like that of a supreme emperor roaring at the sky. The Heavenly Punishment Divine Eye opened between his eyebrows. The purple-gold eyes stared coldly in front of him, exuding a vast, majestic aura. It was impossible to look at it directly. Swoosh! A purple-gold divine light shot out from the divine eye. The divine light emitted a terrifying will that could annihilate everything in the world. The Annihilation Divine Light, combined with this supreme will, made its power increase continuously. It was so condensed that it looked like it was real. A vast amount of mighty power gushed out from the divine eye in a frenzy. Boom! 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 The Annihilation Divine Light blasted towards the Ice Emperor, colliding violently with the crescent moons that were falling from the void. The crescent moons, which were comparable to the attack of a supreme expert, were pierced through by the divine light at a speed visible to the naked eye. They were destroyed inch by inch and turned into dust. Not even a trace of dust was left. The Ice Emperor seemed to have realized how terrifying the Annihilation Divine Light was. In front of the divine light, the crescent moons kept falling down, blocking the divine light. They kept colliding with it, trying to destroy the divine light. However, the power of the Annihilation Divine Light had been fully unleashed. Although it was dimmed by the crescent moons, it still appeared in front of the Ice Emperor in an instant. Bang! In an instant, the entire fringe fell into an eerie silence. Even the sound of a needle dropping on the ground could be heard clearly. The purple-gold Annihilation Divine Light hit Ice Emperor's heart and penetrated it in an instant. Boundless annihilation power poured into his body. The moon burial heavenly dance in the air came to a strange halt. The Ice Emperor lowered his head and looked at his chest. There was a huge hole in his chest. Who are you? The Ice Emperor didn't do anything else. He just looked at Tion, who was on the Celestial Emperor's chariot, and suddenly said something. It seemed like the most ordinary question, but it also seemed to have a deep meaning. Who am I? Di Shirtian stood on the Celestial Emperor's war chariot. He had no intention of avoiding the Ice Emperor's gaze. He looked straight at her with a determined expression and said without hesitation, "I am the Demon Emperor of the demonic race, Di Shirtian." His voice was filled with confidence and pride. "I'm a pawn." I did not agree. "If you want to kill me, I will kill you. If you're not convinced, you can come to the demonic race city. If I am afraid of you and take half a step back, I will take my head off and let you kick it like a ball." Di Shirtian said each word clearly, exuding the boundless confidence of a true emperor. He didn't have any scruples because of his identity. That was his temperament. If you are strong, he will be stronger. If you are ruthless, he will be even more ruthless. The Ice Emperor looked at Di Shirtian quietly, as if he wanted to imprint his appearance in his heart. He said, "Demon Emperor Di Shirtian of the demonic race, I will remember." Crack! Then the Ice Emperor's body started to crack like glass. Countless cracks started to appear on his body at a speed visible to the naked eye. Countless spiderweb-like cracks even appeared on his face. With a boom, his entire body shattered into countless tiny pieces. They were pieces of ice crystals. These ice crystals were not ordinary. They were 10,000-year-old frosty, soul-chilling crystals. They were top-quality materials for refining treasures. If a piece of it was added during the refining process, it would immediately give the magic weapon the magical ability to freeze everything within 10,000 miles. Whoosh! A jade box appeared and quickly stored all the frosty soul-chilling crystals into the jade box. Crack! Looking at the void, the moon crystal wheel appeared out of nowhere. It slashed in front of him, creating a crack. It drew an arc of light and disappeared into the crack. Obviously, it had returned to the Ice Emperor's original body. Cough! The Celestial Emperor's war chariot also disappeared. In his inner world, the Celestial Emperor's war chariot appeared out of nowhere. Di Shirtian entered the Imperial chariot and quickly activated the Imperial Shocking Book. The boundless desire energy that filled his inner world suddenly gathered above the war chariot, forming a pitch-black vortex. Like a funnel, the boundless desire energy was continuously sucked into the demonic race palace. The immortal emperor body was activated. The 6 divine rings of indestructible divine ring rolled around his body, forcing the clotted blood out of his pores. Then, the immortal emperor true force quickly flowed through his demonic race palace, cleansing his meridians of the damage, and cracks. Countless heavenly voices of desire rang out around him. The battle with the Ice Emperor could be said to have taken a lot of damage. The continuous attacks from the crescent moons were so terrifying that he had never experienced them before. If it weren't for the Celestial Emperor's canopy, he would have been smashed to death on the spot. Even so, the terrifying power of moon burial still injured his internal organs, flesh, and demonic meridians. In particular, the power of moon burial contained an immeasurable amount of coldness that could freeze flesh and blood. If not for the Imperial Shocking Book's overbearing power, the power of moon burial would have frozen the blood in his body, causing his power to dissipate. Traces of moon burial's power still traveled through his flesh, freezing every inch of his flesh. Crack! The 6 immortal god rings started from his feet and crushed his flesh inch by inch, constantly refining the impurities in his flesh. Over and over again, his flesh was cleansed. After a long time, a total of 3 days passed in the inner world. The power of desire that filled the sky was instantly swallowed into his body and swept away. In the Imperial chariot, Sakura's flesh and blood were emitting waves of light. His face was glowing as he spat out a mouthful of turbid air. He slowly opened his eyes and muttered to himself, "That Ice Emperor is really something. She's only a doppelganger, and yet she managed to injure me so badly." A peerless expert is indeed a peerless expert. Even a mere doppelganger can't be underestimated. Fortunately, she died at my hands in the end. Fortunately, The moon burial's heavenly dance wasn't performed by her true body. Otherwise, it would have destroyed the world. He recalled the previous battle in his mind, secretly learning from the various experiences that he had gained. If he hadn't decided to fight the Ice Emperor to the death, he would have been crushed into dust, even with the Celestial Emperor's chariot, if he had the thought of running away. He would have died under the moon burial's heavenly dance. This was life and death in one thought. Whoosh! Underworld took a deep breath and said with some lingering fear, "Lunatic D, that was close. That was really close." This Ice Empress had an ice-cold appearance since ancient times. It was said that she was a snow woman born in the land of ice and snow. She was born with the terrifying ability to control ice and snow. Fortunately, it's only a doppelganger. If her true body came, it would have been disastrous. But, speaking of which, we really fell into the trap of that old thing Myriad Calamity. It's really not easy to take his things. D. Shirtian's eyes flashed with wisdom. He said decisively, "If what the Ice Emperor said is right, Myriad Calamity Ancestor should be recultivating. There must be an extremely deep backup plan hidden in the treasures he released. Those treasures, the Golden Spirit Pearl, and the innate spiritual embryo might have hidden dangers. As for the other treasures, almost all of them were directly sent to the Imperial Treasury. However, the Golden Spirit Pearl had already fused with the Seven Sins demonic zither, allowing the Seven Sins demonic zither to become a high-grade magic treasure. It was impossible to separate them. The innate spiritual embryo was refined into the Imperial Jade archive. It was even more impossible to give it up. I must think of a way to completely eliminate the hidden dangers. D. Shirtian would not allow any hidden dangers to appear in his life source magical treasure. He began to think of a way to eliminate the hidden dangers on the spot. That's right, Myriad Calamity, that old thing, reincarnated and recultivated. His original aura must have been sealed. He released the treasures because he wanted to use them to block the disaster and divert the enemy's attention to buy time. In the ancient times, he was an unscrupulous demon god. Maybe there's a deeper plan. Ming cried out in fear. Ding dong! With a wave of his hand, the Seven Sins demonic zither quickly emerged from within his body. Looking at the Seven Sins demonic zither, which had become as black as ink again, the Seven Sins demonic zither had absorbed an unknown amount of power or desire and was on the verge of leveling up. 3 spiritual pearls of the heavens and the earth spiritual pearl, wood spiritual pearl, and gold spiritual pearl appeared on it. Traces of origin, source energy flowed through the body of the zither. Although the Seven Sins was only an upper-grade magical treasure, it could not be determined by its grade. Heaven's reincarnation bell, the power of heaven's reincarnation, cleanse eye of the Seven Sins. A light flashed above D. Shirtian's head, and an ancient bell quickly emerged. The bell swayed, and the Seven Sins demonic zither was absorbed into the ancient bell. In the inner world of the bell, an illusory plate of reincarnation appeared. The image of the 6 paths of reincarnation emerged. The 7 sins appeared on the illusory plate of reincarnation. As the plate of reincarnation rotated, the dark power of reincarnation constantly fell on the zither and was constantly cleansed by the power of reincarnation. Humph! I have in Myriad Calamity's chess piece once. The karma of the past should be settled. I take these treasures with a clear conscience. From now on, I will not be placed on the chessboard again. Myriad Calamity, D. Shirtian, do not owe you anything. D. Shirtian seemed to be muttering to himself. Humph! Myriad Calamity, that old man, when he settled down in the land of chaos, he must have wanted to find the whereabouts of the tomb of the god of sin. If he really found it, with his cultivation and the tomb of the god of sin, I'm afraid he would directly break through to the immortal realm and become the 4th sovereign. Ming said in a fearful voice. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 864. Please recommend me. It doesn't matter. The tomb of the god of sin is not something we can meddle in now. Those who are competing are all peerless experts. It's better not to meddle in the tomb of the god of sin in the land of chaos. Tion was not without expectations for the tomb of the god of sin. However, the tomb of the god of sin was too ethereal. Instead of focusing on the tomb of the god of sin, it was better to focus on cultivation. Moreover, he did not think that the book of the Emperor's shocking world that he had created would be inferior to the tomb of the god of sin. There were 13 volumes in total. Now, he had only created the 11th volume. He had not even finished cultivating the 11th volume. There was no need to covet other things. If he created the 12th volume, he could step into the realm of peerless experts and become an ancient demon god. If he created the 13th volume, he could become immortal and invincible and become a supreme ruler. Since he had his own path, why should he care too much about other techniques? Even if the tomb of the god of sin really had a peerless technique that could allow peerless experts to cultivate to the level of ruler, it would only be on par with the book of the Emperor's shocking world. He would rather spend his time studying the two most important scrolls of the book of the king's shocking world than go after the mysterious tomb of the god of God. Since he was standing at a different height, he naturally had a different perspective on the problem. Crazy Emperor, although you say so, if you have the chance to obtain a tomb of the god of sin, you must snatch it. You should know that the tomb of the god of sin is not only related to the position of ruler, but also to the legendary eternal heaven domain. It is said that if you obtain the tomb of the god of sin, you will have the chance to enter the eternal heaven domain. Nether blinked her eyes and cried out. Tion just smiled indifferently and said, "The only thing we can do now is to find the other spiritual pearls of heaven and earth as soon as possible so that 7 sins can be promoted." He remembered that there were 5 spiritual pearls in the Thousand Tribulations cave abode. He had obtained the gold spiritual pearl, but the other 4 and the water spiritual pearl were taken by Xian Ming with the netherworld ghost lamp. The fire spiritual pearl was taken by Meng Yao. The wind spiritual pearl was taken by Yi Feng of the Wing clan. The thunder spiritual pearl was taken by a young man with a lightning mark between his eyebrows. The 4 spiritual pearls' owners were not easy to deal with. In addition, there were the Yang spiritual pearls and Yin spiritual pearls. In total, there were 9 of them. The 9 spirit pearls merged into one, giving birth to the primal chaos, reverting to the post-celestial realm. Ming, how's the tempering of the heavenly devil script going? Indra had a plan in his heart regarding the matter of the spiritual bead, so he changed the topic and asked about another matter. Madman D, don't worry. The Sky Demon Scroll was refined from my original body. Returning to its origin and refining the Underworld book is not difficult. However, with your current cultivation, in my opinion, even if you obtain the Underworld book, it's best not to merge it with the Heavenly Punishment Divine Eye for the time being. Once the Divine Eye was upgraded again, it would become a supreme grade connate spiritual treasure. When the 4 innate divine restrictions are born, although their power will be greatly increased, you won't be able to use them as freely as you do now. Ming was naturally quick-witted and guessed the real reason why he was asking about the book of the Netherworld. However, the Heavenly Punishment Divine Eye was too mysterious. Without the corresponding cultivation and Dharma power, it was difficult to completely control it and unleash the shocking combat power of the Divine Eye. Don't worry, I have my own plans. Tion nodded thoughtfully. In the Demon City, cultivators from all heavens gathered. The 100 ancient races also began to send their people into the ancient city to exchange for all kinds of precious materials, spiritual essences, and even elixirs. The skeleton race, the winged race, the angel race, the ghost race, and the beast race all appeared. After the Immortality Peach Banquet, it was time for the 100 races to officially return. The 100 races also began to move continuously. The 100 races all had some thoughts about the prosperous scene in the ancient city. They were all secretly thinking about whether they should think of a way to build a few shops in the ancient city to establish a foundation, to strengthen the relationship with the demon race. At this moment, in the jade pool, waves of laughter could be heard continuously. In the pavilion built on the jade pool, which was renamed from the demon transformation pool, the three Ao sisters Chun Shi, Bai Huzhuer, Qing Xia, and Yuer were all gathered together. Surprisingly, Ao Qing and Ao Hong were holding a boy and a girl in their arms. They looked like they were carved from jade. They were affectionately scratching their noses. Ao Qing looked at Chun Shi lovingly and said, "Sister Xian, these two little guys are so cute. They haven't been named yet." Yes, these two little guys are really blessed. No wonder they have the bloodline of Brother D and Sister Xian. They opened their own demon residence and condensed a demon core as soon as they were born. They will definitely be very talented in the future. Ao Hong also nodded and said. Chun Shi's face was full of motherly radiance. She looked lovingly at her children in their arms and said with a smile, "The boy is called Di Yin and the girl is called Di Yuer. Your brother Di named them himself." After a pause, she continued, "He said that as his son, a boy, should be like the scorching sun, resolute and unyielding. He should lead the demon race to glory and never set like the sun. A girl should be like a fairy in the moon and be doted on by everyone." From the names, one could hear Di Shitian's expectations for his children. Yin should be like a blazing flame, like the sun in the sky. The blood in his body would never be cold, and his blood would never be extinguished, like the scorching sun passing on the torch. Di Yin Diyu. Ao Shui blinked her eyes and said in a childish voice, "These two names are really nice. I believe that they will be like Brother D in the future and look down on the heroes." "Sister Shi, Sister Tianxiang, where is Brother D? We have something to discuss with him." Ao Qing handed Di Yin to the maid beside her and said, "Shi Tian is not in the city." Su Tianxiang blinked her beautiful eyes and looked at the three princesses and said with a smile, "Let me guess. You should be discussing with Shi Tian about opening a shop in the city, right?" Chun Shi naturally exuded the graceful wisdom of a demon empress. She looked at Ao Qing and the other two girls with a meaningful look. She actually said what they were thinking. Sister, you know about it?" Ao Hong looked at Chun Shi in surprise when she heard it. "Sister Shi, there are many shops in the city. We are thinking of building a crystal palace in the city to sell all kinds of rare treasures. However, other races are not allowed to build shops or businesses in the city, except for the demon clan." Ao Hong added. She looked very concerned. This matter was related to the development of the dragon clan. It was not unimportant. When Chun Shi heard this, he smiled faintly and said, "My three younger sisters, please don't worry. Although the demon city has been the foundation of the demon clan since it was built and no outsiders are allowed to interfere, given the relationship between the Dragon Clan and our Demon Clan, I'm sure your big brother D won't object to building a shop in the city." Although she said that, she did not make a guarantee on the spot. Although, with her identity as the Demon Empress, such a matter could be solved with one sentence. But she did not do that. She was the Demon Empress and was very honorable. However, he was very clear about his limits. If Di Shitian was not around and could not handle politics, she could handle it on his behalf, and it would not be a big problem. At other times, she was the Demon Empress, and it was her responsibility to manage the Jade Pool. Other political affairs could not be overstepped. Too much interference was interfering in politics. It was not good for the Demon Emperor's dignity. It would also cause the officials to have objections. As a wife, whether it was inside or outside, she had to protect her husband's prestige. Therefore, now that Di Shitian had returned from the land of exile, as long as it involved the entire demon clan, she would not make a decision alone. This virtuous and graceful manner made her position in the demon clan unshakable, and she won the respect of countless demon clans. Roar, roar, roar. At this moment, suddenly, from the distant void outside the demon city, an ancient dragon's roar that seemed to have appeared from the ancient times sounded. It was incomparably vast. All the ferocious beasts trembled in this dragon's roar. It was as if the entire endless void had stopped operating in an instant. A kind of pressure from the soul rolled over. Ao Ching and the other two could not help but tremble. Their faces were slightly pale. They looked at each other and saw traces of horror in each other's eyes. A kind of pressure that came from the bloodline made them feel suffocated. Your brother D is back. Chun Shi stood up and looked out of the pavilion. It was as if he could see through the endless void and see the end of the void. Rumble. In the endless void, a huge crack appeared out of nowhere. From the crack, 9 huge primordial ferocious dragons rushed out fiercely, pulling a huge celestial emperor's war chariot behind them. The 4 purple gold wheels under the war chariot spun rapidly with purple gold flames. With the primordial 9 dragons pulling the chariot, the celestial emperor's war chariot exuded an unimaginable peerless emperor's aura. The celestial emperor's canopy emitted hundreds of millions of rays of light. Di Shirtian sat in it, as if he was patrolling the heavens and the myriad of worlds. With just a glance, one could feel an inestimable majesty from the celestial emperor's war chariot. It made one feel reverence and fear unconsciously. The 9 primordial ferocious dragons pulled the celestial emperor's war chariot at the same time and sped towards the demon city. The huge war chariot had already fallen into the eyes of many cultivators and demon clans in the demon city. Ah, the celestial emperor's war chariot. This is His Majesty's war chariot. His Majesty the Demon King has returned. A divine dragon that is hundreds of thousands of feet long. How powerful must it be to be captured by His Majesty to pull the chariot? His Majesty is indeed mighty. Only such a divine dragon is worthy of His Majesty's honor. The group of demon clans exclaimed as they looked at the vast primordial 9 dragons with a proud expression. In their hearts, the demon emperor was an irreplaceable god. Their eyes were burning with passion. However, when the all-heavens cultivators saw this scene, they could not help but gasp. This is the legendary celestial emperor's war chariot. The dragon's roar earlier had the primordial aura. Could it be that the primordial 9 dragons are pulling the war chariot? Using the primordial 9 dragons to pull the chariot. My goodness. Even a peerless elite does not have such majesty. Each primordial ferocious dragon is a ferocious beast equivalent to an ancient giant. How could it be subdued? This is unbelievable. If this war chariot appears on the battlefield, no one in the myriad of worlds would be able to stop it. Legend has it that the primordial 9 dragons can set up a peerless killing formation that can obliterate a peerless elite. To be continued. If you want to know more, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 865. The World Annihilating Dragon Coiling Formation. Legend has it that this formation requires the primordial 9 dragons to gather. Once it is set up, the 9 dragons will turn into a 9 dragons millstone. As it rotates, it can crush heaven and earth instantly. It can be said to be one of the most terrifying killing formations in the world. Since the Demon King has gathered the primordial 9 dragons, this formation must have fallen into his hands. Impossible. The primordial 9 dragons have always been ferocious. Their bodies contain the terrifying ferocity left behind from the primordial era. Their will is covered by the ferocity. It's impossible to subdue them. What method did the Demon King use to subdue them and use them to pull the chariot? This is simply inconceivable. Using the primordial 9 dragons to pull the chariot. Wherever the Demon King goes, even the most powerful people will be wary. This is the Emperor, the real Emperor. Wherever the Emperor's chariot goes, everything will bow down. The Emperor's power will sweep across heaven and earth, commanding the heavens. No one dares to disobey. Witnessing the approaching celestial Emperor's chariot being pulled by the primordial 9 dragons, the cultivators in the demon city were almost boiling with excitement. In the blink of an eye, the entire demon city was shrouded in a hubbub of discussion. However, while the foreign cultivators were shocked, the demons in the demon city were excited and proud. Who is that? That's our Demon King. Roar! Roar! The 9 primordial ferocious dragons suddenly raised their heads and revealed an arrogant expression. They let out earth-shaking dragon roars and quickly approached the demon city. At the same time, all the discussions in the city instantly quieted down and became absolutely silent. Only pairs of eyes were constantly following the celestial emperor's chariot. "Welcome back, your majesty." The demons in the city all knelt down and bowed to the celestial emperor's chariot. Their eyes were burning with passion. They spoke in unison. That respectful greeting directly spread to every inch of the void in the ancient city. Amidst the greeting, the celestial emperor's chariot quickly entered the jade pool. "Princess, that's the demon king. He can use the primordial 9 dragons to pull the chariot. The celestial emperor's chariot is so powerful. I only took one look, and I felt that my soul was being suppressed. It's really terrifying." In the restaurant, the little princess of the Sky Incense Valley, concubine Xiang, and her maidservant Xiao Zhu were still in the private room. Through the window, they saw the scene of 9 dragons pulling the carriage. Retracting her gaze, Xiao Zhu stuck out her tongue and said with some lingering fear, "To be able to subdue even the immemorial 9 dragons, it seems that Mother's choice was not wrong. The Demon Emperor is definitely an unparalleled genius. Under his leadership, it is not impossible for the demon race to return to the glory of the ancient times." Concubine Xiang blinked and pondered. She paused for a moment, as if she had made some kind of decision. She stood up gracefully and said, "Xiao Zhu, let's go to the Jade Pool to meet the Demon Emperor." As he moved, he seemed exceptionally decisive. He turned around and left the restaurant with Xiao Zhu, heading toward the Jade Pool. The next day, in a beautiful valley in Demon City, a large group of beautiful women dressed in gauze quickly appeared. They hired large groups of demons and even all heaven's cultivators to start renovating and decorating the valley. Elegant pavilions were erected one after another. Steam rose from the hot springs. Hundreds of flowers adorned the valley. In the sky above the valley, there was a strange fragrance mist. The mist changed with the wind into strange scenes. Groups of female cultivators with curvaceous figures quickly entered myriad demon city from the outside. After entering the valley, at the entrance of the valley, there was a stone tablet erected. 3 elegant ancient seals appeared on the stone tablet. Drifting Fragrance Valley. After Demon City was promoted to a supreme artifact, the city was like an independent world. Coupled with the 9 heavens living soil and the 5-color divine soil, there were mountains and rivers in the city. At the same time, there was also a sea area. Although the size could not be compared to the source continent, it was still complete in the end. This sea area was called the Demon Sea Area. In the sea area, there were naturally those water clan. All kinds of water clan were also part of the demon race. And in the Demon Sea Area, dragons suddenly appeared one after another. There were a large number of flood dragons, water dragons, flame dragons, yellow dragons, winged dragons, and so on. As soon as they appeared, they immediately took out all kinds of materials and built a huge palace. The palace was located in the water, emitting a crystal-like light. In the sea, it could be said to be beautiful. A large number of Dragon Clan treasures were constantly transported in from outside. All kinds of pearls, all kinds of precious materials from the bottom of the sea, piled up like a mountain. They were building the Dragon Clan's Crystal Palace. However, this Crystal Palace seemed to be different from ordinary Crystal Palaces. It was not specially used as a place of residence. Instead, it was built as a trading hall. The counter was built as a trading place. In the most lively area of the ancient city, there was also a dazzling gambling house that was quickly built. This gambling house was called Changle House. The successive movements in Demon City attracted the attention of countless cultivators and demons. They all paid close attention. They were secretly sizing up and investigating. Finally, after the investigation was clear, countless cultivators were in an uproar. All kinds of rumors quickly spread in the city. Have you heard? The Demon City is building the Drifting Fragrance Valley. What? You don't know about the Drifting Fragrance Valley? You are too ignorant. You should know about the Heavenly Fragrance Great World. This world is controlled by the Heavenly Fragrance Valley. The Heavenly Fragrance Valley is the fragrance clan of the 100 ancient clans. It is said that their clansmen will naturally have a strange fragrance on their bodies when they are born. Moreover, each of them is innately charming. They are the best dual cultivation partners in the world. That's great. I didn't expect that the Fragrance Clan, who has been in seclusion for tens of thousands of years, will come out. It is said that the Fragrance Clan is best at dual cultivation. They have a unique side to training female cultivators. Moreover, it is said that they have a magical treasure called the Devil Gathering Tower. It can cross the void boundary out of thin air. From a mysterious tunnel, it can take the demon girls of the Devil God continent into the tower and cultivate them with a unique secret method. Each of them is an unparalleled cultivation vessel. These demon girl cultivation vessels are all for sale and for cultivators to enjoy. They are incomparably beautiful. Once the Drifting Fragrance Valley is built, TSK, we male cultivators are blessed. As long as we have demon coins, not only can we enjoy the pleasure of sex, if we encounter a bottleneck, we could buy a demon girl from the valley as a cultivation vessel. Maybe we can break through the bottleneck at the fastest speed. TSK. This time the Drifting Fragrance Valley will definitely make a lot of money. What kind of place was the Drifting Fragrance Valley? It was the same as a brothel in the secular world. However, one was in the secular world, and the other was for cultivators in the heavens. It could be said to be a money-squandering establishment. It could be said to be a holy land for men. This spread. Immediately, it made the blood of countless cultivators in the entire demon city boil. After all, cultivators didn't have to abstain from sexual desires. Now that the Drifting Fragrance Valley appeared, it naturally made people yearn for it. In the Demon Sea area, the Dragon Clan has already settled down. Moreover, they are building the Crystal Palace. Legend has it that countless treasures from the sea area are constantly transported in. Once the Crystal Palace is completed, it will immediately be sold to the outside world. Even dragon scales can be bought. The Dragon Clan can actually get the qualifications to build the Crystal Palace in the Demon City. Hasn't the Demon City always prohibited any race other than the Demon Clan from building shops and leaving behind foundations? The Dragon Clan even built a gambling house. The various gambling tools inside are actually specially made. There is no way to cheat with cultivation. How can the Dragon Clan be allowed to build businesses in the city? Could it be that the Dragon Clan and the Demon Clan have secretly formed an alliance? The construction of the Drifting Fragrance Valley, the Crystal Palace, and the Changle Workshop almost instantly shook the entire city. Countless people who were observant also saw the hidden meaning in it. It seemed that the Demon City didn't completely prohibit outsiders from building shops. It was just that a certain condition had not been met. For a moment, countless forces who wanted to interfere in the big market in the Demon City began to have red eyes. Countless spies immediately spread the news in all directions. In the Jade Pool, inside the 100 Herb Garden, countless rare and precious herbs were planted and growing. At this moment, a large number of maids in the 100 Herb Garden were quickly planting the reincarnation Holy Spirit tree that was tens of thousands of feet tall. Baisusu was carefully supervising from the side. Lunatic D, why did you agree to let the Sky Incense Valley build the Drifting Fragrance Valley in the Demon City? And the Dragon Clan, isn't this letting others start to interfere in the Demon City? Ming was surprised that Di Shirtian agreed to let outsiders build shops in the city. Occupying the foundation was a little puzzled. After all, the Demon City was the foundation of the Demon Clan. If outsiders were to interfere, there might be variables. Huh. Di Shirtian smiled meaningfully and said, "Don't worry, in the Demon City, no one can cause trouble. Moreover, I originally intended to make the Demon City the center of the universe, the most prosperous place in the world. For any item, circulation is the way of the king. Moreover, the reason why I agreed to the Fragrance Tribe. Firstly, it was because they had helped to resist the enemy in the Battle of the Illusory Island. They could be called allies. Secondly, This can be a signal to the 100 ancient clans in the universe. The Thousand Demon City had a unique advantage. It was a supreme divine artifact. A supreme divine artifact could be said to be the top existence in the world. It was also the safest place in the world. Any shop built in the Demon City would also be the most stable place in the world. To the cultivators in the universe, it had a fatal attraction. After all, this was the only supreme divine artifact in the world that was open to the public. Naturally, every force wanted to have a place in the city. After obtaining a place, all kinds of peculiar treasures from all over the universe would naturally converge into the city. It would attract countless experts. It was enough to make the Demon City the most prosperous place in the world. As for the entry of other forces, Tian was not afraid of the reduction of profits. As long as he controlled the currency and the issuance of demon coins, the Demon City would be the richest existence in the world. If he wanted demon coins, he would have to use all kinds of treasures to exchange for them. This was what it meant to make a huge profit with little capital. Moreover, he could use the qualification to enter the Demon City to tie up his allies. The establishment of the Drifting Fragrance Valley undoubtedly tied the Fragrance Tribe to the Demon Clan's war chariot. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen, please go to www.chijian.com. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 866. Hehe, you really have a way. Binding interests is the way of the king. Lunatic D, how do you know how to do business? When Dark heard this, he understood tacitly. Any alliance was bound by interests. Without interests, even if they could form an alliance for a while, it would not last long. Sooner or later, they would part ways. However, once there was a connection of interests, it would not be so easy to break away from it. Relying on the attraction of the Demon City, there were many who were willing to form an alliance. At the critical moment, the Demon City was the best refuge. It was not difficult to become the business center of all the worlds, especially the promotion of demon coins. Once it spread, as long as they controlled the production of demon coins, they would be able to get whatever treasures they wanted. Moreover, casting demon coins was not difficult in terms of materials. Any abandoned magic treasure or could be used. It only needed to be fused with the power of faith. But only the Demon City had the power to do so. Tian heard it and smiled faintly. How would he know that he was a businessman in his previous life? He said calmly, the Dragon Clan was part of the Demon Clan back then. It was just separated. If possible, the Dragon Clan may be able to return to the Demon Clan. There was a shocking ambition in his words. He was thinking about the entire Dragon Clan. The Dragon Clan had been separated for many years. Although the friendship was still there, it was extremely difficult to return without a decisive factor. In Tian's mind, he already had a rough plan. Not bad, not bad. The Dragon Clan was the royal family of the Demon Clan back then. If they can return, the strength of the Demon City might increase greatly. Dark also agreed loudly, nodding and shouting. Moreover, I have already instructed who to start supervising the construction of the auction house. This auction house would be the largest auction house in the entire Demon City. I want to make it into a top-notch auction that even the ancient tycoons and peerless powerhouses would scramble for. Tian's body naturally overflowed with a kind of soaring self-confidence. Even the name had been decided. It was called the Supreme Auction House. The Supreme Auction House of the Demon City was comparable to the peerless experts. The Supreme Auction House naturally meant that it was also open to the peerless experts, the peak existence. From this, it could be seen how high the standard of the auction would be. Just as the Drifting Fragrance Valley and the Crystal Palace were about to begin construction. In the most prosperous area of the ancient city, countless divine crystals were piled up together. A large number of blacksmiths, array masters, and countless demons gathered together and began to build an incomparably huge auction house with divine crystals. Before the construction was completed, the news had already spread. Have you heard? The Demon Emperor is going to build an auction house. It is said that it will be called the Supreme Auction House. The items that will be auctioned, there will all be rare treasures. I heard that even peaches of immortality are being auctioned. Supreme Auction House. This meant that he wanted to turn this auction into an auction house that even peerless experts would yearn for. This meant that there would be treasures that could even move the hearts of peerless powerhouses. My goodness, the Demon Emperor's foundation is indeed extraordinarily deep. Countless discussions already indicated that the Supreme Auction House had not yet been completed, but it already made countless cultivators yearn for it. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. In front of the Yangxin Palace in Jade Pool, Di Shitian, Chun Shi, Bai Hu Xiaobai, Di Ling, Zhu Yaoyu Saintis, and the newly born Di Yin and Di Yuer, all of them were standing in front of the Yangxin Palace. Each of them looked excited, nervous, and expectant. In Di Shitian's hand, there was a green gourd. Let's go. Whether Mother can wake up or not depends on this. Di Shitian's eyes flashed with a trace of reminiscence. The short but warm time in Tiger Hill came to his mind. It was a pure land in his memory. It was also the best memory. After a long while, he took a deep breath, suppressed all his thoughts, and said slowly, "Husband, Mother will be fine." Chun-Shi reached out to hold Di Shitian's hand tightly and said softly. It was as if he was injecting strength into her. "That's right. Aunt is blessed. She will not die prematurely. I believe that Annie will definitely be able to wake up." At this moment, the white fox, Su Tian Xiang, did not hold back and gave Sakura Tian her firm support. Ling believes that Big Brother will definitely be able to save Mother. Xiaobai blinked her eyes and said to Di Tian with a rather confident tone. This little girl always had an inexplicable confidence and admiration for him. In her heart, her brother was omnipotent. Nothing could stump him. Monster King, I have seen Mother's injury. Although the poison on her spiritual soul has penetrated deep into her soul, the myriad poisons dragonfly, wine, should be able to cure it. Yaoyu Saintis nodded and encouraged. Let's go. Hearing the blessings, Di Shitian gradually calmed down. However, he held the god of wine gourd tightly in his hand. Without any hesitation, he quickly walked into the heart-nurturing palace. His mind also calmed down in an instant. Behind him, Chun-Shi, Xiaobai, and the rest also followed. The myriad poisons dragonfly wine had been fully brewed under the bell of heaven's reincarnation. Under the precipitation of time, the countless poisons in the wine had fused into one in a strange way. The poison in the wine had completely transformed into a special state. Not only did it not have the power of poison, but it could also cure any poison in the world. After realizing that the myriad poisons dragonfly wine had been brewed, Di Shitian did not stay for a moment. He immediately summoned Chun-Shi and the rest to the Yangxin Palace. Patter. Stepping into the palace, there was a huge cloud bed in the middle of the palace. On the cloud bed, there was a white tiger that was no less than 300 feet long. It was lying on top of the cloud bed and sleeping silently. Its entire body was shrouded in a layer of 7-colored mist. Under the protection of this divine light, it seemed that time could not get close to it at all. That was Chun-Shi's instantaneous power. He quickly removed the instantaneous power and opened the god of wine gourd. He took out a jade bowl and poured it into the bowl. The bowl was filled with sparkling and translucent dragonfly wine. Bursts of strange wine aroma instantly filled the entire palace. Everyone present could not help but feel invigorated. Even the dermic powers in their bodies circulated faster. He carefully fed the mother white tiger the dragonfly wine. On the spot, countless white divine lights burst out from the pores of the white tiger's body. In the blink of an eye, they intertwined and shuttled rapidly through its body as if cleansing it. Boom, boom, boom. The white tiger's originally dispirited expression suddenly exuded a strong tiger aura. Its entire aura was rising rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. Demon Core, first transformation. Demon Core, second transformation. While the white tiger was sleeping, he fed it all kinds of spiritual essences. Under the tempering of the myriad poisons wine, They were quickly turned into energy and poured into its body. Moreover, the bloodline in the mother white tiger's body had already been awakened in the Thousand Beasts sect. The powerful divine beast bloodline almost caused its aptitude to reach the peak. Its physical body was even stronger. At this moment, at an unbelievable speed, it broke through the Demon Core first transformation to the Demon Core 7 transformation, the ancient great demon realm. This speed was faster than sitting on a rocket. Roar! The divine lights around its body quickly entered its body. The mother white tiger suddenly opened its eyes and let out an intimidating tiger roar. That roar could simply shake one's divine soul. Bright divine lights burst out of its tiger eyes and instantly swept across its surroundings. It revealed a strong sense of vigilance and threat. Smack! Sakura stood in front of his white tiger mother and heavily knelt down on the ground. His tiger eyes were filled with tears as he said with a trembling voice, "Mother, this child is unfilial. That year in the Tiger Hill mountain range, I witnessed with my own eyes that you were captured by the Thousand Beasts sect and was powerless to do anything. I had no choice but to endure the humiliation to save my own life, causing mother, younger brother, and younger sister to suffer humiliation and torture. This child is unfilial." Bang, bang, bang. Deshertion recalled the past. When he thought of the torture his mother had suffered in the Thousand Beasts sect, his heart felt like it was being stabbed by a knife. His forehead hit the ground again and again. Chunchi didn't hesitate at all and knelt down to White Tiger beside Sakura. "Mother, I am Xiaobai." Xiaobai threw himself onto the bed and hugged the mother White Tiger's neck tightly. Drops of tears fell from his eyes like rain. "You are, boss." The mother White Tiger looked at Xiaobai and then looked at Deshertion, who was kowtowing in front of her with a face full of guilt. That familiar aura, that blood was thicker than water, made her recognize her son and daughter almost instantly. She stretched out her tiger claws and pulled Deshertion over and hugged him tightly. That long-awaited hug made Deshertion feel an indescribable sense of intoxication. The poison in the mother White Tiger's body was indeed completely cured. Next, Deshertion roughly described his experience in the Tiger Hill Mountains and introduced Qin and the others in the main hall. The entire atmosphere was filled with warmth. Originally, Sakura planned to let White Tiger Mother transform, but she stopped herself. She planned to cultivate the White Tiger Saint Spirit technique and completely transform the bloodline in her body into a real White Tiger Divine Beast. If she transformed then, not only would her potential be greater, but she would also have a chance to comprehend the White Tiger's innate ability. After the mother White Tiger woke up and learned that Deshertion's surname was D Empress, she directly named him Empress D. The family of three naturally enjoyed the joy of a long-awaited family reunion. The only regret was that they still had a younger brother who was wandering outside. Time flew. Under the miraculous effects of the myriad poisons dragonworm wine, the Peacock Maiden's brother, Kongwu, was also successfully cured of the poison and woke up. He also joined Deshertion without hesitation. In the blink of an eye, a full year had passed since the great battle. The Immortality Peach Banquet was about to begin. Countless experts from all over the universe had gathered in the Myriad Demon City. The city was filled with a rich atmosphere of joy. Heavenly music continued to reverberate in the ancient city. In the void, white cranes danced and phoenixes chirped. Countless heavenly maidens scattered flowers. Strange scenes were everywhere. In the Jade Lake, countless beautiful palace maids shuttled around like butterflies, carrying all kinds of precious spirit herbs, spirit fruits, and countless delicacies. Fine wine. To be continued. If you want to know what happens next, please go to www.chijian.com and read more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 867. Golden apples, fairy lychees, tricolored grapes, snow lotus seeds, and all kinds of spirit fruits that were hard to find in the world were sent to the Jasper Lake. There were also Holy Spirit fruits picked from the reincarnation Holy Spirit tree. Delicious dishes cooked by the masters of the culinary god clan, which had all kinds of magical effects. There were also many kinds of aged wines brewed by Yuan Tian and the Monkey Clan. Before the Immortality Peach Banquet started, there were already countless fragrances spreading in the Jade Pool. Since he was going to hold a banquet, Tian didn't plan to hide it. If he was going to hold a banquet, he wanted to hold a grand banquet so that the other world would drool at the mention of it and be envious of it. With his wealth, he had obtained countless kinds of spirit herbs, especially in the land of exile, where he had obtained a huge amount of wealth. Without the slightest blush, it could be said that in the myriad of worlds, other than the money tree, Sakura was the #1 money bag in the world. This banquet was a good opportunity to show the power of the Monster Clan to the major forces. He wanted to make a name for the Monster Clan. This was the sign of returning to the Purple Gold Land. In the Thousand Demon City, Baiyu led a team of senior demon guards in pitch-black armor patrolling the city. They were emitting a cold and murderous aura. The 4 heavenly gates were heavily guarded, and the Blood Massacre army was intimidating. On the surface, it was a festive occasion with songs and laughter. Many of the monsters who were good at dancing sang and danced in high spirits. Obviously, it was relaxed on the outside, but tight on the inside. Madman D, you've sent the 100,000 Bloodkill guards to patrol the city. You've captured a large number of troublemakers and put them in jail. Are you afraid that someone will take the opportunity to cause trouble during the Immortality Peach Banquet? Ming saw all of Tian's arrangements and couldn't help but ask. Moof. Ming, in this world, whether it's mortals or cultivators, they're all treacherous. If you don't stand at the peak, you will never have true peace. Do you know why I immediately announced the Immortality Peach Banquet a year later after the battle at the illusory Void Island? At that time, there were still many hidden forces that hadn't made a move yet. Tian said meaningfully. During the battle on the illusory Void Island, there were quite a number of opposing forces. The alliance of demon slayers, the King of Sin, the Unfettered King, the third prince of the Eternal Emperor Dynasty, Zhu Wuqing, Venerable Feng Shun, and the mysterious successor of the Supreme Mystery Sect, the Child of Destiny, the King of Destiny, Tai Xian. There was also the Thousand Beast sect that had mysteriously disappeared at the last moment. These forces seemed to be huge when added together, but in fact, it was just the tip of the iceberg that the real mastermind had thrown out. Originally, they might have been able to see more, but after the grade of the supreme artifact was revealed in the Demon City, they had hidden it again. Once again, he was waiting for an opportunity. At this moment, Tian announced that he was going to hold the Immortality Peach Banquet. He guessed that there were people hiding in the dark. They would definitely guess that the Myriad Demon City had just been upgraded to a supreme divine artifact, and the Demon Clan's foundation was not strong enough, and their wings were not fully developed yet. This banquet must be the Demon Clan's first attempt to recruit the major forces. If the banquet was successful, many powerful races would be bound to the Yao Clan's war chariot. At that time, the Demon Clan would be able to gain a firm foothold. On the other hand, if they took advantage of the fact that the Demon City had just been upgraded to a supreme divine artifact to ruin the banquet, not only would it cause the Demon Clan to lose face, but it would also reveal that the Demon Clan's foundation was weak. Those who originally wanted to ally with the Demon Clan would hesitate, and they would not dare to join and be tied to the Demon Clan. It would also completely suppress the Demon Emperor's ferocity. No matter how one looked at it, this was the last chance to restrain the Demon Clan on the surface. Whether it was for public or private reasons, the mastermind would definitely not let go of this opportunity. Moreover, Tian did not believe that the Black Demon Old Ancestor, He Xianfeng, would be able to take this lying down after knowing that his bloodline, He Xianfeng, had fallen in his hands. There was also the Eternal Emperor Dynasty's third prince, Zhu Wuqing, who had been suppressed by him under the 4 heavenly gates, being trampled on by countless demons and cultivators. This was trampling on the Eternal Emperor Dynasty's face. He did not believe that the Eternal Emperor Dynasty would be able to take this lying down. Of course, there was also the demon god faction that had hidden so deeply. After so many years, it was hard to guess how big their hidden forces were. The door is already open. I will sit and see who will come in. Tian looked at the void meaningfully. The Empress's awakening completely undid the knot in his heart that had always been in his heart since Tiger Hill. Faintly, he felt that his mental state was currently undergoing a strange transformation. It was as if the obscurity in his heart had completely disappeared. Even when looking at the world, he had a different kind of comprehension. It was as if he was showing signs of ascending to the ancient mid-heavenly demon realm. He close the door and release Shenggong. Ming was hiding in the holy river of Huang Quan, smiling evilly as he blinked his eyes. It's time to start forming the Earth-level Dharma idol. Tian felt the festive atmosphere in the jade pool, but he did not indulge in it. He went into his inner world and used the power of the bell of heavenly samsara to reverse time to form his Dharma idol. One had to know that Dharma idols were divided into different grades: heaven, earth, black, and yellow. The yellow level was illusory and could be formed by the ancient great demon realm alone, but it was not very helpful. The black level Dharma idols could turn illusory into reality and gather the power of the Dharma idol, infusing it into the body and increasing one's cultivation in an instant to achieve the goal of reversing the universe. It was one of the trump cards. As for the earth-level Dharma idols, they were truly wondrous. After forming, the Dharma idols would be able to develop spirituality and turn into Dharma idols. When released, they could attack the enemy on their own, just like external avatars. It had endless uses. Those who were not ancient heavenly demons could not touch it. That's right, Crazy D, you really need to cultivate your Dharma idol now. You have opened 11 demon meridians in your body, 10 of which have been completely opened, and the 11th has opened 3 Huangji, true acupoints. In total, you have 93 Huangji, true acupoints. If you form all of them and reach the earth-level Dharma idol, you'll have 93 external avatars. Just like Supremacy Feng Shun and the Icy Queen, you can send them out without having to do anything. That's a great mystique. Nether agreed without hesitation. With his sharp eyes, he could naturally tell that Supremacy Feng Shun had only sent out a doppelganger. The Icy Queen herself could not do anything because of the Sovereign's order. Similarly, she had only sent out a Dharma idol. This was something that could be used to ward off disasters. At the heavenly level, an Dharma idol was equivalent to an extra life. Tian had already prepared everything in secret and was ready to open the door to arrest the thief. As the Immortality Peach Banquet approached, the Immortality Peach Banquet began. The myriad worlds started to feel uneasy. On the surface, there was nothing, but in the dark, turbulent waves were surging. If one was sucked in, they would definitely be shredded into pieces. Ancient Emperor Dynasty. In the Emperor Palace, a man in black robes, shrouded in mist, knelt before the ancient emperor respectfully, his head bowed as he listened. The Immortality Peach Banquet of the Demon King should be starting soon, right? The ancient emperor looked at the man in black, his voice emotionless. Your Majesty is right. The spies that I have arranged have already found out that the Immortal Lake is currently preparing for the banquet. The Immortality Peach Banquet is about to begin. Furthermore, many of the ancient hunter races have already set off for the Demon City. Judging from the situation, they are preparing to attend the banquet. The man in black, whose face could not be seen, reported all sorts of information. Immortality Peach Banquet? The ancient emperor smiled faintly, and a sharp glint flashed across his eyes. Good. Tian, even though I am unable to do anything personally, I know that you are holding the Immortality Peach Banquet. Since you want to stabilize the position of the demon race, I shall give you a great gift. Suppressing my son, if I did not do anything, wouldn't the myriad worlds think that I am afraid of you? Gehenna, how are the preparations for the task that I asked you to do? After saying that, his gaze landed on the man in black. Your Majesty, don't worry. The lunatic that has been locked up in the Een prison has been secretly moved to the endless void. As long as Your Majesty gives the order, he will be released immediately. Furthermore, I have already contacted the mysterious assassin organization, Yamahal, and they have already accepted the mission. When the man in black mentioned the lunatic, there was a hint of fear in his voice. His cultivation was already one of the strongest amongst the ancient giants. Anyone that could make him fear was obviously not an ordinary person. Very good. Take my order to the endless void and wait for an opportunity to strike. As for Yamahal, it's a good opportunity to see how much strength they're hiding. The ancient emperor's words were full of scheming. After all, he was an emperor who had ruled the imperial dynasty for countless years. At the same time, Black Fiend Great World. In the palace, the Black Fiend Ancestor was listening to the report of his subordinate. Immortality Peach Banquet? The Black Fiend Ancestor sneered. Oomph, you want to hold a banquet in peace after killing my son? I will turn your immortality Peach Banquet into a banquet of death. If I don't show my prowess, even a mere ancient heaven demon dares to ignore my existence. Black Abyss, how are the things I asked you to prepare? A middle-aged man with a murderous aura stood in front of the Black Fiend Ancestor and said respectfully, "Don't worry, Ancestor. I've already sent that gift to the vicinity of Thousand Demon City. I believe that the Demon Emperor's expression will be very good when he receives it. However, I've discovered that several forces are secretly contacting Yanluo Jian that you've asked us to contact." Several factions? The Black Fiend Ancestor sneered. That's good. Yamahal has always been mysterious. There are many experts there, and they are involved in the assassination business. It is said that there are heaven-level ace assassins that can assassinate peerless experts. It is a good opportunity to see their foundation. Furthermore, it seems that there are many people who want the Demon Emperor's life. If they can really kill that Brad D. Shirtion, I will be happy. The Immortality Peach Banquet was unprecedentedly grand. The banquet did not send out any invitations. The doors were wide open. As long as the various worlds and ancient clans wanted to, they could come to the banquet. There were no barriers at all. However, there were many spying eyes in the dark. Moreover, as time went by, one after another, important figures arrived. It seemed that this place had once again become a turbulent battlefield with surging undercurrents. After reading the book reviews, I found that some friends have a lot of opinions about how the human race is too despicable. In fact, the title of this book has already determined the overall tone of the book. It is a history of the struggle of the demon race. I have always believed that the protagonist should write from the perspective of the demon race. Otherwise, if one were to wear the skin of the demon race, but write about yearning for the human race, that would just be putting the cart before the horse and losing the charm. When I write books, I have always written from the perspective of the protagonist's identity. This will not change. Chapter 868. Rumble. Outside the southern heaven gate, countless cultivators from all over the world were looking up. With a swish, a supreme battleship tore through space in the distance and appeared in the endless void. The battleship did not radiate any hostility. Burly men with bulging muscles stood silently on the edge of the battleship with simple spears in their hands. His face, however, was filled with a simple and honest expression, which seemed to carry an unusual simplicity. There was also the valiance of a warrior. Similarly, there was a woman who looked weak. She was dressed plainly, but she was obviously smart. At the bow of the warship, there was a little fatty standing with a tall girl. The girl had a mysterious aura, and her eyes seemed to be able to see through one's mind. The warship quickly appeared in front of the southern heaven gate. Halt! Warships are not allowed to fly in the Demon City. All warships are to be parked outside the city. In front of the southern heaven gate, Bai Yu, who had ascended to the ancient demon sage realm, walked up coldly and reached out his hand to stop the warship. He was wearing a silver-white armor and carrying a long saber on his back. Bai Yu was in charge of the demon guards, and he was decisive in killing. He was not afraid of the strong. Haha, since we are in Brother D's territory, there is no need to stay on the warship. Little sister, let's go down together. We haven't seen each other for many years. I wonder what kind of fortuitous encounter Brother D has had since then. Little fatty Tu Xingsuan blinked his small eyes and said with a smile, Earth Spirit, also had a strange look on her face. Towards Sakura, even her prophets, I was unable to see his future. Even the great expansion clam that she gave to Bai who did not work. The group quickly got off the warship, followed by a few elders and a large group of warriors who entered the southern heaven gate together. So, the people from the Li clan are here. Those two should be the brother and sister from the Li clan. They are the peerless geniuses of the Li clan's younger generation. Especially that Tu Ling, she is said to be very mysterious. The Li clan opened the Li clan temple during the previous war to help the demon clan. It seems that the Li clan has the intention to ally with the demon clan. This time they came so early. Their attitude shows that they are supporting the demon clan. Perhaps in the future, there would be a Li clan shop in the Thousand Demon City. The earth crystal that is unique to the Li clan is a rare treasure. It is said that the Li clan is good at refining caves. If you sell it, it will be a rare treasure. The warship stopped. Knowing that they were the representatives of the Li clan, a maid immediately led them to the reception area. Roar! Immediately after, a dragon roar sounded. A huge dragon-shaped warship tore through the void and flew over at high speed. On this dragon boat, there were countless shrimp soldiers and crab generals. In the middle, there was a man and a woman, as well as a few old men who were motionless with their eyes closed. That young man had a handsome face. Dressed in white dragon robes, he naturally exuded a unique aura, making people feel good about him. That young girl, however, had a layer of mist covering her face, making it difficult for people to see through her. There was also an indescribable beauty about her. His temperament was extraordinary. This is a dragon boat. Look, the dragon clan has arrived. Look at that man and woman. Could they be the famous white dragon crown Prince Aou and Holy Dragon Princess Aeolian? It is said that they were cultivated by the dragon clan and consumed countless precious spiritual items. Their cultivation base and combat strength are unfathomable. They can be said to be peerless geniuses in the world. I didn't expect them to come to the banquet. With the return of the 100 clans, the 3 lists and 1 chart will be reopened. This will be the era of the geniuses. A battle is inevitable, and the true king of the geniuses will be determined. That is the true king who leads the trend, the emperor. These two have the potential to enter the 3 lists and 1 chart. After the Li clan entered the city, it seemed to be a unique signal. On the spot, all the major forces broke through the void and arrived one after another. Moreover, as if there was a tacit understanding, those who came were all peerless geniuses from various heavens. It was as if they were taking advantage of this opportunity to let those hidden geniuses officially walk on the stage. Rumble. Countless savage beasts trampled on the void, galloping, pulling ancient bronze chariots, breaking through the void quickly. My goodness, they're using savage beasts to pull the chariots. Only the Beast Clan knows how to tame savage beasts. This is the Beast God Chariot of the Beast Clan. Look, that's one of the peerless geniuses of a younger generation of the Beast Clan, Meng Tianxi, known as the new Beast Emperor. The Beast Clan is here too. Gaga. Amidst the strange cries, an ancient skeleton city made of skulls appeared out of thin air. The strange cries sent chills down one's spine. The ancient skeleton city, the Skeleton Clan, is here. Didn't this clan always have a close relationship with the underworld? They also appeared here. It seems that the prestige of the Beast Clan is not to be underestimated. I wonder if the Skeleton Clan's purple soul with the soul-devouring Skeleton King will appear this time. Swoosh! Countless colorful lights burst forth. A crack naturally opened in the void. In the crack, countless colorful phoenixes could be seen dancing. 9 heavenly horses pulled up a noble and elegant phoenix chariot. Around it, there were female guards with proud faces. They all exuded the aura of elites who had experienced hundreds of battles. On the phoenix chariot, there was the aura of the king of birds. Illusory images of immortal birds appeared. Heavens, That's the Phoenix Chariot of the Phoenix clan. It's a precious treasure. Don't tell me that a peerless genius from the Phoenix clan has arrived. According to the legends, there's a phoenix among the Phoenix clan whose birth is accompanied by strange phenomena. She has shocking talent, and her cultivation base advances by leaps and bounds. She's called the Phoenix Fairy, Phoenix Dance. This is another genius who has a chance to make it to the 3 rankings in one chart. Look, that's the Chelan Mountain of the Chelan clan. They even brought out that precious treasure. It seems the Chelan clan really cares about the demon folk. It's definitely not an ordinary clan member. Maybe it's the young chief of the Chelan clan, Chi Tianlin, another genius who has the potential to make it to the 3 rankings in one chart. What's that? That's a huge turtle shell. Don't tell me the black tortoises are here as well. That's the angels. That's the bird folk, the Azuras, the 3-eyed gods. Seeing the 100 primordial clans appear in Demon City with their own eyes, the cultivators of the various heavens were so shocked that their jaws dropped. One after another, peerless geniuses appeared. It was almost as if a gathering of geniuses was taking place in the ancient city. The might of the 100 primordial clans struck fear into the hearts of many of the cultivators present. Many of the cultivators in the city who didn't know much about the 100 primordial clans were suddenly made aware of the situation. Once these peerless geniuses appeared, the future of the purple gold continent would be filled with turbulent winds and clouds, entering a glorious era. Once again, Demon City became a battlefield of turbulent undercurrents. Vaguely, the atmosphere in Demon City became a little strange. That said, they didn't refuse anyone. Chun-Shi and the other women were gathered in an elegant pavilion in the Jade Pool. Among them was the soliciting Moon Holy Mother. An ancient mirror hung in front of her, and the scene in front of the southern heavenly gate appeared in the mirror. Not only was the image clear, but all kinds of discussions could also be heard from the mirror. Hearing the discussions, Baihu suddenly asked the soliciting Moon Holy Mother with some doubts. Holy Mother, Tianxiang knows about the 3 lists in one chart. The 3 lists are divided into heaven, earth, and mortal. The mortal list only records the powerhouses among the cultivators who have yet to break away from the mortal world and achieve the immortal Tao. The earth list records those who have broken away from the mortal world and have all kinds of abilities, but have yet to reach the level of a peerless powerhouse. The heaven list records the top powerhouses among the peerless powerhouses. The 3 lists include the violet gold continent and the various heavens. The top 100 of each list is taken. The one chart is the beauty chart. It records the truly outstanding peerless geniuses in the various heavens. However, based on the discussions of these cultivators, it seems that the 3 lists in one chart contain some unusual existence. As a 9-tailed celestial fox, Su Tianxiang was naturally intelligent. She immediately grasped an important piece of information amidst the discussions of the various heavens. She asked the soliciting Moon Holy Mother without any reservations. Chun-Shi could not help but look at his mother. He keenly sensed that the 3 lists in one chart were definitely not simple. It was rumored that it was a true top-grade connate spirit treasure. It hung on the peak of the Empyrean Blade Pillar. When the soliciting Moon Holy Mother heard this, a trace of reminiscence appeared in her eyes. She said in a deep voice, "The 3 lists and one chart are top-grade connate spirit treasures born from the chaos. Naturally, they are not ordinary rankings. The top 100 of each list will be reopened after each immeasurable calamity. Anyone who can make it onto the list will receive a supreme opportunity. The spiritual consciousness of those who make it onto the mortal list will automatically fly into the list, and the mortal list will grant them the ability to reverse time. The 100th person will be able to reverse 10 times the cultivation time. During cultivation, endless connate essence chi will descend from the void. It will stack up one by one, and when you reach the top, you will be able to reverse 1,000 times the cultivation time. Why do you think the cultivators of the various heavens are scrambling for it?" She spoke leisurely. When these words fell into the ears of Chun-Shi and the others, they could not help but be secretly shocked. With such benefits, How could those low-level cultivators not fight to the death? What if he could make it onto the earth roll? Chun-Shi asked curiously. She was not envious of the ability to reverse time. Whether it was the Linglong Treasure Pagoda or Di Shirtian's Bell of Heaven's reincarnation, they all had the heaven-defying ability to reverse time. Naturally, it was not rare. Those who can make it onto the earth roll are almost all ancient powerhouses. If they make it onto the earth roll, there will be unimaginable rewards that can make ancient powerhouses become peerless powerhouses. The earth roll can guide the power of chaos, allowing those who make it onto the earth roll to weaken the restraints of heaven and earth and the power of heavenly punishment when they become peerless powerhouses. The last 10 people will be weakened by 10%, and the top 10 people will be weakened by 20%. And the top 10 people can steadily become peerless powerhouses. The soliciting moon, Holy Mother, once again threw out a shocking sentence. As she said, the ability of the 3 lists and 1 chart, although it was an auxiliary ability, could be said to be heaven-defying. It could actually make ancient powerhouses become peerless powerhouses. How could this not make those peerless geniuses fight with all their might? This was an era of rising heroes. This was an era of dazzling geniuses. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chijian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 869. Oh my God, these 3 lists and 1 chart are too magical and unbelievable. The man roll allows those on the list to have the ability to reverse time and receive innate essence energy. As long as one is on the list, even a stupid pig can break free from the shackles of the mortal world and advance on the path to immortality. The earth roll can actually allow an ancient powerhouse to advance to a peerless powerhouse. The powerhouses in the universe will go crazy for a spot on the earth roll. Zhuer blinked her eyes, her face full of disbelief and disbelief. She had followed Chun-Shi in the Thousand Demon City for so many years, and she loved to listen to all kinds of secret stories in the universe. Naturally, she knew very well that advancing from an ancient powerhouse to a peerless powerhouse was truly a narrow escape. The most difficult part was to rely on one's own strength to break through the shackles of heaven and earth and pass through the heavenly punishment. During this process, one would no longer be able to absorb any essence energy from the outside world. Every bit of one's magic power was consumed. Even if one could recover on their own, it could not be compared to the consumption. Once one's power was exhausted, one would be directly blasted into dregs under the heavenly punishment. Chaos was the mother of heaven and earth. Drawing down the power of chaos would naturally be able to break through the shackles of the laws of heaven and earth and increase the chances of successfully passing the tribulation. If one could be supported by the power of chaos, it would be able to replenish one's own strength. One could imagine what kind of opportunity that was. There is actually such an incredible treasure in the world. Yu Er's eyes revealed a strange light as she muttered to herself. For these 100 spots, the universe will definitely enter an era of war. Bai Hu was full of splendor, as if she could already see the coming great era. The earlier one is on the earth roll, the easier it is to become a thorn in the side of countless prodigies. If one doesn't have absolute combat strength, they might die at any time. At that time, all kinds of schemes and tricks will be endless. Without the peerless combat strength to suppress a realm, being on the earth roll will instead be a death sentence. Chun-Shi, however, was keenly aware of the hidden murderous intent. The 100 ancient races in the universe have been recuperating for countless years, and a young generation of peerless prodigies emerged endlessly from the various forces. It was a sign that a great era of war was coming. In the chaos, there would definitely be prodigies, kings, and emperors. Born in such an era, it was unknown how many geniuses would die prematurely. Yes, Sheer, you're right. Those who have a last laugh have stepped on countless corpses and stood at the peak. The soliciting moon, saintess nodded and praised. The heavenly, earthly, and mortal rankings. The mortal rankings and earthly rankings are already so mysterious. What are the benefits of the heavenly rankings? Zhur asked curiously. Since the Yaoyu saintess had spoken, she had no intention of hiding anything. She continued, the earth roll only records the almighty experts. Naturally, the heaven roll is one level higher. Those who were recorded were all unparalleled experts. Unparalleled experts were existences that even heaven and earth couldn't restrain. They had undying bodies and immortal primordial spirits. They could be said to have reached the pinnacle of the world. Possessing an eternal and indestructible lifespan was practically the noblest existence in the world. The probability of death was so small that it was immeasurable. He could enter the chaos world alone. He could destroy many great worlds with a wave of his hand. However, he still existed in the long river of fate. Even the river of fate couldn't control them. However, I have never been able to completely break away from the great Tao. With every sentence she said, her expression became more solemn. What she was talking about was the true secret of heaven and earth. It was the source that ordinary experts couldn't understand. Although the unparalleled experts are free from the shackles of heaven and earth and are free and unfettered, no one can deny that they can only transcend because they have received the favor of heaven and earth. Heaven and earth nurture spirits with all things, but none of them can repay the heavens. Even if you break through the shackles of heaven and earth and become an unparalleled expert, if you don't give back what you seek from heaven and earth will naturally descend a true calamity, the 5 decay of the celestial being. The 5 decay of the celestial being? Chun-Shi exclaimed in surprise. There was a trace of bewilderment between his brows. Could it be that the 5 decay of the celestial being can hurt an unparalleled expert? Yes, that's right. I've heard from my ancestors that the 5 decay of the celestial being is a sharp sword hanging above the unparalleled expert's head. Once it falls, even the unparalleled expert won't be able to escape death. I'm not too sure what's going on. However, every unparalleled expert will inevitably suffer a great tribulation of the 5 decay of the celestial being after breaking through. Yaoyu Holy Mother muttered. Although she knew many ancient secrets, she wasn't an ancient demon god. There were many secrets among the ancient demon gods that she didn't know. Then, what are the benefits of entering the heaven list? Could it be related to the 5 decay of the celestial being? Baihu looked at Yaoyu with excitement. Yes, Yaoyu said with yearning. Legend has it that those who enter the heaven list will be given a heavenly Tao token when they are crossing the 5 decay of the celestial being. Each heavenly Tao token can be exempted from one of the 5 decay of the celestial being. Among them, the last 20 can get 1 heavenly Tao token. The top 20 can get 2 more heavenly Tao tokens and be exempted from 2 decay of the celestial being. The top 20 can get 5 heavenly Tao tokens and be exempted from the 5 decay of the celestial being. Free and unfettered. The girls secretly sucked in a breath of cold air. Even unparalleled experts were afraid of the 5 decay of the celestial being. After all, although they had transcended the restrictions of heaven and earth, they still hadn't returned the karma from heaven and earth. They still couldn't achieve true transcendence and were still in danger of dying. It could be imagined that it was for the heaven list quota and the heavenly Tao token. Even unparalleled experts would go crazy because of it. This was a life-saving treasure. Once the 3 lists and 1 chart were reopened, it would sweep the entire world, and countless creatures would fight for it. Even unparalleled experts couldn't just stand by and watch. It could be imagined that the immeasurable calamity would eventually come. No one could avoid it. Even peerless experts were included in the list. Only the ruler was eternal. Then what about the last chart? Xiao Bai, Diling, also asked curiously about the benefits of the 3 lists and 1 chart. When Yaoyu Holy Mother heard this, her originally serious face couldn't help but bloom with a smile. She said, speaking of which, the 3 lists and 1 chart is the greatest gift to the girls in the universe. What kind of gift? What the girls were most concerned about was naturally this group of beauties. After all, this was something related to them. What is bestowed is life. Life. The girls were surprised, and some didn't understand the meaning behind it. That's right, it's life. Yao Yu said with a faint smile. In the universe, there are countless beautiful girls. Each of them is peerless, beautiful, and has obtained the essence of creation. If one can enter the group of beauties, not only must they be peerless, but they also have a unique temperament that can topple heaven and earth. And in the group of beauties, any one of them can be said to be a masterpiece of the heavens. They are loved by the heavens and earth. If any one of them falls, even the heavens and earth will be sad because of it. Even the heavens will feel regret. Therefore, the heavenly girls who enter the group of beauties have a chance of rebirth. Every one of the top 10 has 3 chances to be reborn, and the other heavenly girls also have 1 chance to be reborn. This kind of group of beauties can also be said to be the power of annihilation bestowed by the heavens and earth. Even if your soul is destroyed, even unparalleled experts can't stop it. It can be said that the heavens and earth dote on them. It's amazing. Yao Yu said slowly. The group of beauties was the arena that countless heavenly girls in the universe dreamed of. It could be foreseen that the reopening of the 3 lists and 1 chart would usher in an unavoidable era of great competition. And the immortality peach banquet in front of them was the stage for countless peerless geniuses. 3 lists and 1 chart. In the inner world, Deshurtion used the bell of heavenly samsara to reverse time, and with the help of a large number of heavenly origin pills, he continuously condensed Dharma idols in the Huangji true acupoint that he opened. When the 93 Dharma idols were completely condensed, he secretly began to pay attention to the scene in the 1,000-demon city. He looked at the guests and listened to the discussions in the city. His gaze gradually became abnormally deep. With Ming around, he naturally had a clear understanding of the 3 rankings in 1 chart. One had to know that the previous owner of Ming stood out from the other geniuses and obtained the title of Emperor of the Underworld. He fought for the 3 lists and 1 chart. He knew how dangerous it was. Lunatic D, it seems like the immortality peach banquet that you organized has become a fuse. Those who came are all geniuses of the younger generation. This is the first step for the factions behind them to push them out of the limelight. Ming said thoughtfully. The Phoenix tribe, the Black Tortoise tribe, and the Qilin tribe. These were the royal tribes of the demon race in the ancient times. Deshurtion looked meaningfully at those peerless geniuses entering the city and said, I want to see how strong the ancient tribes are. This immortality peach banquet might be very interesting. The return of the 100 tribes was right before their eyes. Those 100 tribes that had been waiting patiently for tens of thousands of years were already preparing to take action. They were announcing their existence to the universe. Rumble. The void shook violently, and a huge crack appeared. From the crack, a huge warship broke through the air and appeared in the endless void. That warship exuded a strong deterrent force. Countless iron-blooded Dao soldiers stood on the warship, and it was very strict. A group of youths stood at the bow of the warship, chatting with each other as if they were sizing up the situation in the demon city. They quickly approached the southern heavenly gate. As they approached, a large group of cultivators in the city were surprised, and there was an uproar. That's the warship of the human race. I recognized the young geniuses on it. They are the elites of the 10 immortal sects of the human race. They are the outstanding successors of the younger generation. How dare they come to the immortality peach banquet organized by the demon race? Aren't they afraid that the demon emperor will be angry and kill them all in the demon city? The great void palace's child of destiny, the king of destiny, Tai Xian, Fairy Mengyao of the kind boathouse, Ding Dang of the myriad demons palace, Green Lotus Sword Fairy Li Qinglian of the Sky Sword Valley, the Xuanji celestial maiden of the heavenly secret sect, Mo Yin of the Xuanxin Orthodox sect. Look, there's also the true disciple of the righteous sect, Ji Haoyue. I heard that his Confucian Tao has been cultivated to a high level, and he's about to surpass his master. Look at that young monk. Could he be the outstanding successor of the Thunder Temple, the Golden Cicada? The Buddhist Tao of Buddhism is very unique. I'm afraid he's not an ordinary genius. Look at that young man in the purple robe. Legend has it that the Starry Hall's younger generation is full of stars, and the most powerful one is the Purple Emperor, who is known as the Crepe Myrtle Star King. If you want to know more, please go to www.chijian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 870. It's Monday again. Brothers, if you still have recommendation tickets, just give them a few recommendations. It won't take more than a few minutes. My goodness, these are the direct disciples of the 10 great immortal sects of the human race. Each of them is a peerless genius born from countless humans. Their talents are immeasurable. They are rare geniuses that only appear once in 1,000 or 10,000 years. It seems that other than the most mysterious successor of the Supreme Mystery Sect, the other 9 great immortal sects have all arrived. The human race and the demon race have a blood feud for generations. The tragic situation of the demon race back then was completely caused by the human race. They actually dared to come here. This is a bit too bold. It's a bit too arrogant. Moreover, the 100 races were forced to leave the purple gold continent by the human race. This time, they are about to return. Conflict with the human race is unavoidable. If they meet, there will be sparks. There will be undercurrents in this immortality peach banquet, seeing the arrival of the 10 great immortal sects of the human race. Countless cultivators in the heavens were guessing in their hearts. They could vaguely feel the undercurrents hidden within. They guessed that this immortality peach banquet would not be too peaceful, especially since the human race had arrived at this time. It was almost like a weasel paying a visit to a chicken. However, no matter what, this group of human prodigies walked into the 1,000 Demon City freely. Bai Yu, who was guarding the southern heavenly gate, seemed to have received some kind of order. He did not stop the human race's arrival and directly let them into the ancient city. Just like how he treated the other 100 ancient races, he treated them equally. What a lively 1,000 Demon City. I can't believe that this was created by a demon emperor. However, when I first saw Big Brother D in the heaven-reaching tower, I already knew that he was not an ordinary demon. Now it seems that my foresight is indeed unique. Looking at the lively scene in the city, a trace of slyness flashed in the corner of Demoness Ding Dang's eyes as she smiled playfully. A crisp jingle came from her hands and feet. She emitted a shocking charm. She recalled her meeting with Di Shirtian in the heaven-reaching tower. She did not know what thoughts were spinning in her mind. This time, I came to see the outstanding successors of the 100 ancient races. Between Li Qinglian's eyebrows was a mark of a green lotus. Her body exuded a strange charm, as if she had emerged from the mud, but was untainted, a turbid green lotus, but was not a demon. He said meaningfully. The group of people quickly entered the city under the guidance of the maid. Due to the arrival of the human race, the atmosphere in the city seemed to have become even more unusual. Swish! The ancient 100 clans arrived one after another. At this moment, a purple light flashed and a strange sound of nature came from the void. An elegant purple bamboo boat appeared out of thin air. The bamboo boat exuded a sense of elegance. When the wind blew on the bamboo boat, the boat emitted a clear and melodious sound. It was a mystical sight. It immediately attracted countless gazes. Could this boat be the purple bamboo boat of the Qin family of the Heavenly Note clan? It is said that the Heavenly Sound clan has a unique talent for music. Every one of them is born to be a master of music. It is extremely easy for them to learn the sound wave technique. When they use it, they have all kinds of magical powers, killing people invisibly. He had always lived in seclusion. Who would have thought that he would appear at this moment? Could it be that this is the era of great battles? At this moment, countless cultivators had gathered in the demon city. Among them, There were many knowledgeable cultivators who knew the origin of the purple bamboo boat. The mystery of the Heavenly Note clan attracted countless gazes. At the moment when the purple bamboo boat appeared in the fairy pool, the women who had gathered in the pavilion and were secretly watching the scene of the guests fell silent at the same time. "She is here." Baihu narrowed her eyes and looked at the bamboo boat, revealing a subtle expression. "She is here after all." Chunshi took a deep breath and looked at the bamboo boat quietly. He had a vague feeling. He had already guessed that the person in the boat must have arrived. The Qin family of the Heavenly Note clan, Katomi. This name was not unfamiliar to Chunshi. It could even be said that it left a deep impression in his mind. Although he had never met her face to face, he had a good understanding of her. Regarding the faint ambiguity between her and Di Tian, she had long seen through it like a fire. It was not an exaggeration to say that she was his confidant. No one would turn a blind eye to her husband's confidant. Obviously, the arrival of Katomi had undoubtedly touched Qinshi. Even Su Tianxiang was not as calm as before. Yao Yu Saint saw this and showed a look of understanding. She stood up and said with a faint smile, "Sure, sometimes you have to give up something to gain something. It's better to let things go. Mother will go talk to Empress Di. I'll leave it to you to decide." There seemed to be a hidden meaning in her words. She smiled meaningfully and turned to leave the pavilion. Chunshi looked at the scene in the ancient mirror. The purple bamboo boat did not come to the southern heavenly gate like the other 100 ancient clans. Instead, it immediately stopped in the void and remained motionless, as if it was silently waiting for something. "Madman D, your confidant is here. This little girl of the Qin family is devoted to you. What are you still hesitating for? You are now the demon emperor of the demon race and have a noble status. You can't leave such a big jade lake empty. As the emperor, it's normal for you to have 3 palaces and 6 courtyards." Ming instigated. In his opinion, as long as it was a peerless heavenly girl, she should be taken into the jade lake and regarded as a taboo. Love between a man and a woman was a law of nature. There was nothing to be afraid of. A real man should take in countless beauties. This was the right of the strong. "I believe that Chun-Shi will make a decision on this matter," Di Tian said calmly. He of course understood Katomi's feelings. Now that the demon race had a stable foundation, they were no longer as conservative and restrained in love as before. However, Chun-Shi was the master of the Jade Lake. He was not in a hurry to go. He wanted to see Chun-Shi's attitude. Of course, no matter what Chun-Shi's attitude was, he had no reason to let down such an infatuated woman. Chun-Shi was silent for a moment, then suddenly said, "Qing Xia, what orders does your majesty have?" Qing Xia stepped forward and answered, "Immediately prepare the 8-person phoenix carriage, ceremonial music, Qingwan sword guards, and palace maids. Welcome Miss Qin to the Jade Lake's Aster Palace as a demon concubine. The guards along the way are not to be negligent in the slightest." Chun-Shi naturally exuded the grace and nobility of a demon empress, graceful and graceful. "We obey your majesty's decree." When Qing Xia heard this, a strange look flashed across her face. From Chun-Shi's words, she understood the hidden meaning in his words. This meant that there would be another demon concubine in the Jade Lake in the future. However, without any hesitation, she quickly turned and left. After Chun-Shi finished speaking, he looked at Baihu, who had her head lowered. No one knew what she was thinking. He smiled faintly and said, "Sister Tianxiang, the Tianxiang Palace has been built some time ago. In the future, you can move into the Tianxiang Palace." This short sentence fell into Baihu's ears, but it made her body tremble violently. She raised her head and looked at Chun-Shi in disbelief. However, an indescribable joy emerged in her heart. She quickly got up and bowed to Chun-Shi cautiously and said, "Tianxiang greets sister." This was a greeting with a different meaning. "We are sisters. No need to be so polite," Chun-Shi said while holding her up. The scene of the Aster bamboo boat made many cultivators in the city, and even the 100 ancient clans, faintly surprised. They did not seem to understand why they did not enter the city since they had already arrived. They were at a loss. However, in the Jade Lake, a bell suddenly sounded and a zither played. 8 maids carried a luxurious phoenix carriage out. Next to it, a group of heroic azure phoenix sword servants walked out in an orderly manner, followed by a large group of maids. The ceremony was solemn. In the future, there were guards opening the way. The group quickly headed towards the southern heavenly gate. Countless cultivators in the city were shocked by this sudden action. For a moment, there was complete silence. The phoenix carriage quickly went out of the southern heavenly gate and arrived in front of the aster bamboo boat. Qing Xia said respectfully. The demon empress ordered Qing Xia to welcome Empress Katomi into the Jade Lake. Let's go back to the aster palace to rest. Please move the carriage. Inside the aster bamboo boat, Katomi and Qin Buchuan sat opposite each other. Hearing the words outside, Katomi's delicate body unconsciously trembled. Qin Buchuan saw this and said with an elegant smile, "My good niece, the opportunity you have been dreaming of has appeared in front of you. Why are you still hesitating? Don't worry, third uncle will take care of everything for you." When Katomi heard this, she calmed down and walked out of the boat with her zither. She looked at the phoenix carriage in front of her and sat on it without any fear. On the spot, the phoenix carriage turned around and headed towards the Jade Lake. Along the way, there were endless ceremonies and music. A festive atmosphere reverberated in the air. Countless pairs of eyes in the city watched the phoenix carriage enter the jade pool with dumbfounded expressions. They were unable to recover from their shock. After a long while, there was an uproar. It was as if a bomb had suddenly been dropped. It was the first time they had seen such a solemn welcome. Oh my God, what is the relationship between the Heavenly Note clan and the Demon Emperor? Their arrival made the Jade Lake send out such a ceremony and music to open the way. The phoenix carriage is a means of transportation. This is the treatment of a demon concubine. Could it be that fairy Katomi who just came out? Does she have an unknown close relationship with the Demon Emperor? Even the Phoenix clan, Qilin clan, and Black Tortoise clan did not do anything when they arrived. However, the Qin clan immediately received them with a ceremony. There must be something fishy going on. Could it be that the Demon Emperor is taking advantage of the Immortality Peach Banquet to officially take in a concubine? I heard that the Jade Lake only has one Demon Emperor so far. In an instant, countless guesses spread rapidly. Many of the rumors were extremely absurd. However, in the eyes of the 100 ancient races, as well as many observant people, this scene made them feel that something was amiss. Haha, the Qin clan's little girl finally got what she wanted. However, this brat really can't stay still. It has been less than a year since the battle, and he is holding this Immortality Peach Banquet. I'm afraid there will be trouble. In a restaurant in the city, the slovenly know-it-all sat opposite the Demon Lord. They drank spirit wine while looking at the scene outside. The Demon Lord only glanced at know-it-all indifferently. He drank his wine quietly and did not say anything. He was as cold as usual. Dong! A crisp sound of a bell rang. The Immortality Peach Banquet officially began. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. I support the author. I support the original reading. Chapter 871. A small climax is coming. Brothers, please help me if you have a ticket. Jade Pool. The original demonic pond had been renamed the Jasper Pond. The Jasper Pond was vast, at least tens of thousands of feet wide. Inside the pond, there were many kinds of lotuses that absorbed the essence of the Jasper Pond. The lotuses bloomed one after another, decorated with green leaves. They swayed with the wind, like lotus fairies dancing. The fragrance of the flowers drifted leisurely, filling the air above the Jasper Pond. On the Jade Pool, there were paths paved with divine crystals that connected to pavilions on the water. They were faintly discernible in the faint clouds. At the center of the Jade Pool, there was a huge oval platform that occupied tens of thousands of feet. It was suspended above the Jade Pool. The platform was spacious, and at the top, there was a 9-level staircase. A throne made of superior grade divine crystals was lofty and noble. There was a picture of a group of tigers roaring in the sky. Ordinary people would feel dizzy just by looking at it, unable to bear the vast majesty. On both sides of the platform, side by side, there were 10 thrones half the height of the numinous sky throne. There were 10 on the left and 10 on the right. There were 20 in total. Further down, there were banquet tables that looked like ancient banquets. Each person had a seat. In front of each seat, there was a small table for all kinds of exquisite spirit fruits, delicacies, and fine wines. In the middle was a spacious square. When the banquet started, there would be palace maids dancing. Looking at the layout, apparently, in this jade pool, according to the quality of the seats, it was divided into 3 levels. The highest level was naturally the seat of the master of the myriad demon city, Demon Emperor Shurtion. As for the 20 thrones in the 2 rows below, they were naturally the second echelon. Who was up and who was down was extraordinary. Below them, everyone was treated equally. The levels were clear, but there seemed to be a sense of seniority. Clang! There was a loud ringing of a bell. Countless beautiful maids quickly appeared in the jade pool. Standing in various places, the azure lawn swordsman gave off a heroic aura. This is the jade pool. As expected, it's full of vigor. It's like a fairyland. Even the rising clouds have spirituality. It's ever-changing. The Immortality Peach Banquet has finally begun. I'm just about to taste the legendary Immortality Peach. Outside the jade pool, many peerless geniuses gathered. Countless all-heavens cultivators looked over with anticipation and envy. It was impossible to enter the jade pool without a certain status. Among them, the main invitees were the 100 ancient clans and the various major forces. Ordinary cultivators could only be envious. Ladies and gentlemen, the Immortality Peach Banquet is about to begin. Please present your invitation cards and enter the Jade Lake. Each invitation card can bring 2 people in. Qing Xia, who was wearing a green armor, said in a clear voice. As soon as the various forces entered the myriad demon city, Hu, King of Nightmare, and the other officials immediately prepared the invitation cards. Every invitation card, other than the invitation card's owner, could bring 2 attendants or guards into the Jasper Lake. Of course, there wouldn't be too many. After all, the first time the peaches of immortality ripened, the tree would only bear 3,000 peaches of immortality. The green lawn swordsmen were in charge of guarding the entrance, and the bloodkill guards were on guard. Many geniuses took out their invitations and entered the Jade Lake. Under the guidance of a maid, they walked towards the banquet venue. The Phoenix Fairy of the Phoenix Clan and the young master of the Black Tortoise Clan, Xianjiu Xiao. The Qilin Clan's young lord Qi Tianlin. The Li Clan's Tu Xingsuan and Tu Ling The Winged Clan's Yi Feng. The Beast Clan's Meng Tianqi. The Skeleton Clan's Ming Jiuyo. The Azura Clan's Shura Zhantian. The Three-Eyed Divine Clan's Tian Xian. The Dragon Clan's White Dragon Crown Prince Aoyu. Holy Dragon Princess Aolian, and so on. The direct disciples of the 10 great immortal sects also received invitations and entered the venue. Every one of them could be considered a rare genius. They naturally exuded their own unique aura and temperament. Every one of them was outstanding. No matter where they were placed, they would bloom with resplendent light. Even the darkness couldn't hide their sharpness. The Jade Pool was an important place in the Myriad Demon City. It was also the place where Shurtion and the Demon Empress resided. No one could enter, so outsiders had no idea what was going on in the Jade Pool. Even though those who entered were peerless geniuses, they couldn't help but marvel at the scenery along the way under the guidance of the maids. Not to mention the various exotic flowers and plants. The various palaces and decorations in the Jade Pool were extremely exquisite. The air was filled with connate essence qi, which had reached an unbelievable level. Just by taking a casual breath, he could feel the origin qi that was like liquid. The fragrance of hundreds of flowers made one feel refreshed. All kinds of beautiful sceneries. 3 steps in 1. 5 steps in a different scene. It was too beautiful to be absorbed. It made one forget to leave. It lived up to the name of the Jade Pool. Unknowingly, they had entered the banquet venue in the center of the Jade Pool. Swish, swish, swish. When they saw the scene in the banquet venue, all the peerless geniuses who entered stopped at the same time. Their eyes swept across the scene in front of them in an instant. The rows of neatly arranged seats, as well as the 20 exceptionally conspicuous thrones on both sides of the soaring sky throne. The thrones naturally exuded an aura that was more noble than the ordinary seats. On the spot, the eyes of all the geniuses burst out with a bright light. A blazing light kept shining. 20. There were only 20 thrones. The numinous sky throne of the first seat was automatically skipped by them. That was the seat of the demon emperor, and no one would be so insensible as to set their sights on that seat. However, the people in front of them were all peerless geniuses, and no one would easily allow anyone to surpass them. They would watch as others sat on the eye-catching throne, while they could only sit in the ordinary seats. Pride. Everyone had their own pride, not to mention the peerless geniuses like them. Hee, brilliant, really brilliant. Lunatic D, you're really ruthless this time. In the inner world, Ming, who had been paying attention to the development of the banquet, couldn't help but lick his lips excitedly when he saw this scene. He shouted with anticipation, "In the world, the 3 lists and 1 chart are about to reopen. This is the era of heroes and geniuses competing for supremacy. The ancient 100 clans and the current main character of the world, the human race, are all geniuses who have the ability and qualifications to compete for the 3 lists and 1 chart. Every one of them is a genius with great luck. Now that they're all at the Jade Pool, how can there be enough seats for all of them? Before the banquet starts, there will definitely be a fierce battle. A battle of words. This was a blatant conspiracy. And it was a conspiracy that even if one could see that it was an open conspiracy, one would still step into it. A conspiracy was a method of setting up a trap in the dark. It might achieve one's goal, but it would lose its grandeur. If it lost its grandeur, no matter how brilliant one's methods were, it would still be unpresentable. A schemer could only hide in the dark and behind the scenes. It was commonly known as dying in the light. And an open conspiracy was the true means of an emperor. An emperor's mind technique. An open conspiracy was to make one step in despite knowing that it was a trap. One would even step in without hesitation, because even if it was a trap in front of them, there was something in the trap that they couldn't give up. There was a reason why they had to go in. Compared to an open conspiracy, there was a difference between a low-grade and a high-grade one. And right in front of them was the most obvious open conspiracy. Those who could enter the Jade Pool were all peerless geniuses. To be able to obtain the title of a genius, none of them were fools or idiots. When they saw the seating arrangement in the banquet, they instantly realized that it was the most direct trap in front of them, and it was already inviting them into the trap, and they had no choice but to enter. No one was willing to be suppressed by other geniuses. If they were suppressed before, then in the future, even if they faced them, their confidence and aura would also be suppressed by an invisible force. This matter was proposed by the King of Nightmare. I'm just proposing an introduction. Tion smiled indifferently. How could it be so easy to eat his immortal peaches? Since he was here, if he didn't reveal some details, wouldn't it seem that his immortal peaches were too easy to eat? He said meaningfully, the collision between the ancient 100 clans and the confrontation between the human race. The 100 clans have returned, so I will give them this stage. Boom! In the Jade Pool, the atmosphere instantly froze. In an era where geniuses rose together, there was no etiquette of modesty. It was about not giving up one's responsibilities. Pairs of eyes emitted a bright light. I am from the beaming royal family of the beast race. My beast race is ranked in the top 10 among the ancient 100 clans. My beast race should have a seat in these 20 thrones. Meng Tianqi raised his voice with a barbaric, beastly nature, extremely aggressive and incomparably domineering. He let out a beastly roar and unceremoniously wanted to occupy one of the thrones. When he finished speaking, he naturally emitted bursts of intense pressure. The noble bloodline belonging to the Beaming royal family made a kind of pressure appear in the air. Wait! Ifon from the Wings clan smiled faintly and stopped him. Among the 100 ancient clans in the various worlds, the Heavenly Punishment clan is ranked first, followed by the Soul clan. This is something that all the clans agree on. However, there has never been a conclusion about the others. Your beast race is a little boastful about being in the top 10. Ifon thinks that it's not appropriate to occupy one of the thrones. Birdman from the Wings clan, if you're not convinced, do you dare to compete with me? Meng Tianxi's beastly eyes narrowed, and the golden fur on his body stood up. He stared at Ifon with an unfriendly gaze, and the golden battle axe on his back seemed to emit a kind of terrifying battle intent. The strength of the various clans is not something that we can decide with a single word. It doesn't matter who sits on the 20 thrones. However, the key is that we can't let the despicable people of the human race benefit. Shura Zhantian from the Shura clan said coldly, and his face was slightly mocking as he swept his gaze over the direct descendants of the 10 great immortal sects. Whoosh! His words immediately shifted all the attention to the human race. After the Immortality Peach Banquet, it would be the day of the 100 clans' return. The Purple Gold Land was already the gathering place of the human race. Once they returned, they would naturally bear the brunt of the human race. No matter what the relationship between the various clans was, there was no doubt that the human race was the first opponent that they had to face together. And the 10 great immortal sects were the representatives of the human race. The direct descendant of the Xian Xian sect, Mo Yin, sneered and said, "If you want to sit on a throne, it depends on your own ability. Why waste your breath here? Since the human race has become the main character of the world, why would we be afraid of a challenge? If you don't want to, then I, Mo Yin, will not decline." After speaking, Mo Yin took a step forward without any warning. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chidian.com. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 872. Today is strange. My head is dizzy. It's so painful that I want to die. Mo Yan's exquisite mystic heart secrets was proficient in the way of the sword. When he took a step, it was as if there was an invisible sword light flashing by, bringing his body through the void in an instant. His entire person was like an unsheathed killing sword wrapped in sword light, directly piercing through the void towards the throne on the right. His speed was so fast that it was simply unfathomable. There was a kind of sharpness that could cut through all thorns. You want to occupy the throne with just you? Get down here. Meng Tianxi's beastly eyes shone with a golden divine radiance, and a terrifying bestial aura surged. His burly body instantly took a step forward, and his right claw full of golden fur grabbed at Mo Yin. The golden beast claw condensed out of thin air with the domineering aura of a beast emperor. The claw seemed to want to tear the void apart and crush the stars into dust. Mystic heart secrets! Mo Yan's body suddenly trembled, and from the pores of his body, strands of mysterious red sword aura spurted out, condensing into small red battle swords. It was as if countless sharp swords had grown out of his body in an instant, and he was like a hedgehog covered in swords. They were terrifyingly sharp. Bang! The beast claw collided with the countless swords. Immediately, the swords were scattered on the spot, completely annihilated. However, the sharpness of the swords also pierced into the beast claw, and the divine radiance on the golden claw, condensed from the beast's power, was constantly being worn down. In the blink of an eye, at the same time that the swords were annihilated, the beast claw also collapsed. It seemed that they were evenly matched. However, Mo Yan's unstoppable body was stopped by the man. In the air, the ripples caused by the battle kept rippling in all directions. However, the strange thing was that those ripples and even the destructive power that erupted from the battle, were unable to spread at all. They were swallowed and suppressed on the spot by an invisible force. There was no damage to anything in the surroundings at all. The Thousand Demon City is indeed worthy of being a supreme artifact. This scene fell into the eyes of the various sky prides, and their gazes all narrowed. They knew that this was the great destructive power of the supreme artifact in suppressing the battle. Any energy generated from the battle in the city would be directly devoured by the supreme artifact. If you want to be promoted, you'll have to ask if I, Meng Tianqi, agree. Meng Tianqi roared. Golden sound waves rolled toward Mo Yin like tidewater. There are 9 of us from the human clan. Out of the 20 thrones, we want 9 of them. Tai Xian was dressed in a black robe. He held the Taishu treasure mirror in his left hand and the brush of destiny in his right hand. He gave off an ethereal and illusory aura like destiny, which was unfathomable and hard to capture. He casually drew on the treasure mirror and said, "Destiny is supreme. Destiny overrides all things. In destiny, the human race deserves the 9 thrones. No power can be reversed." Almost at the same time as his voice fell, a voice rang out. Immediately, a mysterious power of fate descended from the sky and enveloped Mo Yin, Meng Yao, Ding Dang, Li Qinglian, and the others. In an instant, it broke through all restraints and suddenly appeared on the row of thrones on the right. Tai Xian sat on the first throne on the right. The others followed suit and sat down. In the blink of an eye, 9 thrones were occupied. There was only 1 throne left on the right. In the face of the mighty power of fate, it was as if their fate had long been decided by the master of the unseen world. It was the arrangement of destiny, and it couldn't be changed. Destiny overrode all things. What a king of destiny. The divine eye between Tian Xian's brows shot out a ray of cold light. He waved his hand, and his body flew into the air. In the blink of an eye, he landed on the first throne on the left and sat down. Then, the other sky prides used their techniques to snatch the empty thrones. Under the actions of the 10 major immortal sects, the sky prides of the 100 ancient races didn't fight fiercely. They all used their own techniques to snatch the thrones. Suddenly, the Phoenix Fairy, whose body was shrouded in a layer of strange multicolored light, swayed slightly and landed on a throne. She was so fast that she almost broke through the boundary of space. The Black Tortoise Tribe's young master, Xian Jiuxiao. The Kirin Tribe's young master, Qi Tianlin. The Wing Tribe's Yifeng. The Beast Tribe's Meng Tianqi. The Skeleton Tribe's Ming Juyo. The Azura Tribe's Shurajian, and the Dragon Tribe's White Dragon Crown Prince, Aou. In the blink of an eye, 9 thrones were taken. At the same time, a cold and gloomy light suddenly broke through the air and appeared in the Jade Lake. As the dim light dissipated, a cold young girl dressed in black appeared before the various prodigies. She had a cold expression on her face and an ancient lamp on her shoulder. The girl scanned the surroundings as soon as she arrived. Her feet moved lightly, and her entire body seemed to have squeezed into the void. She silently appeared on the last throne on the left. Netherworld Ghost Lamp, Ghost Tribe's life treasure. In the fairy pool, many pairs of eyes instantly landed on the strange ancient lamp on the girl's shoulder. In the lamp, wisps of light flickered. There seemed to be a terrifying force in the lamp that could pull one's soul out of one's body. Although there were many proud sons of heaven, such as the Shadow Clan's Wu Xie, who were originally staring at the last throne on the left, when they saw the ancient lamp on the young girl's shoulder, their pupils violently shrank, and they forcibly averted their gazes. Then he disappeared into thin air. When he reappeared, he had already landed on the last throne on the right. In an instant, all 20 thrones were taken. Netherworld Ghost Lamp, the owner of the Ghost Tribe's life treasure, Xian Ming, is also here. All 20 thrones are taken. Ming widened his eyes and quietly watched the progress in the fairy pool. They have taken their seats, but whether they can sit steadily is another matter. Di Shirtion didn't plan to head to the fairy pool immediately. He continued to watch unhurriedly and smiled meaningfully. Indeed, it was as Di Shirtion had expected. Once all 20 thrones were taken, the various races and humans instinctively started to fight. Meng Tianxi was born in the beast tribe, and his temperament was the most domineering and fiery. His golden eyes swept over the humans and landed on the handsome golden cicada, who was dressed in a golden kasaya. He sneered, "I hate hairless baldies like you the most. You're a baldy. Go home and recite your scriptures. How can you sit here? Get down." The beast's body shook, and suddenly a golden cloud appeared above its head. The battle axe on its back flew up into the air and chopped down at golden cicada from afar. The golden light of the axe tore through the air. It was as if the sky was splitting open. With an indomitable aura, he wanted to chop golden cicada off the throne with one chop. Amateus Buddha. When golden cicada saw this, there was no joy or sorrow on his face. His body didn't move, and a golden cloud also appeared above his head, blooming with bright Buddhist light. Countless Sanskrit chants sounded out of nowhere, as if countless Buddhas and Arhats were chanting scriptures and praying. Hearing the Sanskrit chants, he vaguely had the thought of rebelling against Buddha. On the cloud, amidst the Buddhist light, a 24-story golden pagoda floated up and down. Countless golden Buddhist scriptures and scriptures were densely imprinted on the pagoda. In the pagoda, there seemed to be a mysterious Buddhist world in which countless Buddhas, Arhats, and Bhikkhus were chanting. Countless golden Buddhist light bloomed. It enveloped the pagoda like a huge golden sun. The axe light struck the pagoda, and the pagoda shook violently. It blocked the axe light in a strange way. The surging power instantly spread in all directions. However, the golden cicada sat steadily on the throne. Oomph! The humans have repeatedly broken their promises and slaughtered the demons. How dare they sit at the demon banquet? They should be banished. A green auspicious cloud appeared above Yifeng's head. Countless terrifying storms continuously swirled above the auspicious cloud. A crystal battle bow flickered with resplendent divine splendor as it was suddenly pulled to its full length. Whoosh! A green battle arrow instantly pierced through the air and shot toward Jihao Yue, the righteous sect, at lightning speed. The arrow contained the true essence of wind. It was unbelievably fast. There is righteousness in heaven and earth, and it is called righteousness. With righteousness in his chest, he opens his mouth and spits out Xinghe. Jihao Yue's entire body was filled with righteousness. His body trembled, and a snow-white, righteous aura instantly rose from the top of his head like a smoke signal. The voices of countless Confucian scholars reading the ancient sages' scriptures continuously spread throughout the Jade Pool. It was as if the entire Jade Pool had turned into an academy in an instant, and the students inside were studying. For a moment, strange phenomena occurred in the Jade Pool. The Jade Pool itself was the center of attention. As soon as the strange phenomena occurred, it immediately attracted the attention of countless people in the entire demon city. The sky above the Jade Pool, which was originally shrouded in clouds and mist, suddenly changed. Countless clouds and mist were pushed aside by an invisible force. With a loud bang, countless Sanskrit chants could be heard. A huge golden pagoda spun and shot out endless Buddhist light. A golden battle axe cleaved toward the pagoda as if it was splitting heaven and earth. Look, the immortality peach banquet is indeed not as peaceful as we thought. There must be a fierce battle inside. Could this 24-story pagoda be made by the Thunder Temple's golden cicada? Legend has it that the Thunder Temple has a supreme treasure, the heavenly demon subduing pagoda. It has the magical power to suppress demons, and it can evolve into 24 worlds inside. What a terrifying battle axe. Every strike has the trajectory of splitting heaven and earth, destroying heaven and earth. This is the beast race's heaven-splitting battle art. Could it be that the beast race's Meng Tianxi and golden cicada are fighting? All kinds of strange phenomena appeared in the sky above the jade pool, and it instantly stimulated countless cultivators in the city to discuss and watch excitedly. Although they could not enter the jade pool, they could still see the fierce battle inside. From a strange phenomena, it was not difficult to guess who was fighting who. Boom! Following that, the clouds and mist churned, and countless white auspicious clouds with righteous Yangqi shot into the sky like smoke signals. Under this strong aura of righteousness, all external evils melted away like snow and water. It exuded the righteous Tao. A golden iron alchemy scroll shone brightly with divine light, and countless figures of Confucian scholars appeared on it. They recited the words of the sage, and every word was like the truth of heaven and earth, stirring up the heavenly Tao. A green battle arrow appeared in front of the iron alchemy scroll, but it was blocked by the countless golden words inside. Boom! Boom! Auspicious clouds rose one after another in an instant. To be continued. If you want to know what happens next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. I support the author, and I support the original readers. Chapter 873. Damn, I'm really sick. I'm in a bad state. I'm so depressed. Look, another auspicious cloud has appeared. The cloud is green in color, and there is a green lotus on top of it. The green lotus has a very dense sword energy. This is the supreme technique of Heavenly Sword Valley, the Green Lotus Sword Song. Could it be that Li Qinglian has taken action? A green auspicious cloud followed closely behind and soared into the sky. The auspicious cloud exuded a noble and pure aura. A huge green lotus floated on the auspicious cloud and spun around. Countless green lotus sword chi transformed into green lotus petals and revolved around the green lotus, displaying the power of birth and destruction. Praises for the lotus kept bursting out from the green lotus. Oh my God! This is the battle between the prodigies of the ancient 100 clans and the direct disciples of the 10 great immortal sects. I didn't expect to be able to witness such an exciting battle, even if I can't enter the Jade Pool. Now that 3 of the 10 great immortal sects have taken action, I'm afraid the ancient 100 clans will take action as well. Outside the Jade Pool, countless cultivators looked up at the various strange phenomena that appeared above the Jade Pool. They were so excited that they didn't even dare to blink, afraid that they would miss an exciting scene. This was a battle that they couldn't see normally. They might be able to comprehend something from it and break through their bottleneck. Sure enough, once they took action, the conflict between the ancient 100 clans and the human race was completely ignited. Back in the ancient era, the ancient 100 clans and the demon race fought against the demon god's invasion together and suffered great losses. Many clans were on the brink of extinction. The human race took advantage of the situation. The ancient 100 clans had no choice but to leave the purple gold mainland and hide in the myriad worlds. They hid from the world. This grudge was naturally remembered by the various clans. Now that they had taken action, there was no longer any restraint. Streaks of auspicious clouds soared into the sky. A dark blue cloud soared into the sky. On the cloud, there was an ancient black tortoise seal. On the seal, black ripples continuously rippled, and the body of a black tortoise appeared within. Thick water vapor condensed on the seal. It had an ancient and heavy aura. That's the black tortoise seal, the treasure of the black tortoise clan. This is Xian Jiuxiao. Gaga. At this time, another black auspicious cloud appeared. This auspicious cloud was filled with a dense aura of death. It constantly changed, forming countless skulls that let out strange and terrifying cries. A picture scroll appeared on top of the auspicious cloud. In the picture scroll, countless skulls and dead lives were constantly changing, forming a picture of purgatory. It exuded a terrifying aura of death. Even a single glance at it would send chills down one's spine. It was a kind of despair that caused everything to wither. Ming Jiuyo of the Skeleton Clan is indeed a life of death from the underworld. What a terrifying death aura. Could this be the death feast portrait of the Skeleton Clan? As expected of geniuses, every single one of them took out treasures that were hard to find in the world. This time, it's really going to be a fierce battle. Then, a few auspicious clouds rose one after another. A red cloud with a mysterious aura emerged, and a strange red sword stood on top of the cloud. It was Mo Yin. Boom, boom, boom. Almost instantly, 18 auspicious clouds rushed to the sky above Fairy Lake. 9 of them were from a human clan, and the other 9 were from the 100 ancient clans. The geniuses all had their own pride. Although the 100 ancient clans opposed the human clan, they did not rely on numbers to suppress them. For a moment, 9 auspicious clouds on the left and right clashed violently in the sky above Fairy Lake. The stalemate caused the clouds in the sky to churn violently. Kill! 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 Suddenly, a blood-red cloud appeared in the auspicious clouds above Fairy Lake. It was like a terrifying sea of blood. On the sea of blood, a huge blood-red Azura warblade was constantly devouring the boundless murderous aura around it. The warblade was overflowing with a shocking battle intent. It was as if one could see countless Azuras crazily killing each other. The warblade instantly became thousands of feet long, completely devouring all the murderous aura around it. Then, it soared into the sky as if it was unsheathed from its scabbard. It drew a strange trajectory in the air and slashed heavily at Mo Yan's auspicious cloud. Suddenly, countless ferocious figures of Azuras appeared around the Azura warblade. Those Azuras were also holding swords. Together with the swords, they swept toward the red cloud, where Mo Yan was like tidewater. Rumble! The scarlet war sword on the auspicious cloud above Mo Yan's head carried a tragic aura. The war sword carried a strong, murderous aura, and it also had a kind of charm that described the heavenly Tao. It was as if it was the heart of the heavens and operated the mysteries of the world. The war sword shook, and streaks of scarlet sword light burst out. Each sword light seemed to contain the will of the world and could destroy all things. It collided violently with the Azura warblade. Instantly, countless Azuras and sword lights were quickly annihilated. The Azura warblade carried a soaring battle intent as it directly slashed at the war sword. After a short stalemate, the war sword was immediately shattered. That strike seemed to be able to split the world. The auspicious cloud that belonged to Mo Yin was instantly split in half. It dissipated. My God, the Azura clan's shocking battle skill. Sky-slashing sword skill. Once the blade is used, it can even split the world. When used to the extreme, it can even kill gods. Xuanqing Sex Mo Yin was actually unable to stop Sky-slashing sword skill. The Azura clan is indeed a clan born from battle. They are indeed fierce and terrifying. When the All-Heavens cultivators saw Azura Warsky shatter Mo Yan's auspicious clouds with a single slash of his blade, they were all inwardly shocked. Puff! In the Jade Lake, Mo Yin, who was sitting on the 7th throne on the right, suddenly trembled violently. His face flushed red, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. A terrifying force slammed into his body, knocking him off the throne on the spot. What a Azura clan! As expected of a clan that struggles in battle since birth. The Sky-slashing sword skill is a peerless battle skill that can slay gods and immortals. This Sky-slashing sword skill, if nothing unexpected happens, this Sky-slashing sword skill has the potential to challenge the 3 rankings and 1 rank, exclaimed Dark. All right, the humans have lost face. It's time for us to enter the stage. After all, the Immortality Peach Banquet is a banquet. We can't let them continue like this. Di Shirtion said meaningfully. The 20 thrones were only meant to provoke the conflict between the ancient 100 clans and the human race. He had to stop when he was ahead. The Immortality Peach Banquet was in front of him. He didn't want the banquet to turn into a different kind of battle. If he messed up the banquet, the monster race would lose face. Since he had achieved his goal, He didn't want to watch the fire burn across the river. In the Jade Lake, Mo Yin was thrown off the throne. At that moment, Li Qinglian, Tai Xian, and the others were furious. They were all part of the 10 celestial sects and were of the same branch. Mo Yin being thrown off the throne was undoubtedly a loud slap to their faces. Immediately, sparks appeared in their eyes. Faintly, the air was filled with the smell of gunpowder. Clang! Just as the situation was about to explode, a huge ancient bell appeared in the sky above the Jade Lake. Many mystical scrolls appeared on the ancient bell. Around the ancient bell, there were illusions of reincarnation. Countless ancient demonic sounds and prayers from the ancient times gathered to form a mysterious reincarnation sound. The ancient bell seemed to have become the center of the heavens. The ancient bell shook. It let out an ancient reincarnation sound. Circles of pitch-black reincarnation sound waves covered the entire jade pool like a tide. The ancient bell was connected to the ultimate Emperor Jade archive. With the help of the power of the demon city, countless ripples appeared in the sky above the jade pool. Those rising auspicious clouds were pushed back at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared. In the Jade Lake, where swords were drawn, a look of shock flashed across the faces of the prodigies. The demon emperor's bell of heaven's reincarnation. What a strange sound. It makes me feel like I've fallen into reincarnation. It can even affect my mind. Is this the legendary reincarnation sound? It can actually force all the auspicious clouds back into the body in an instant. Is this the power of the 1,000 demon cities' supreme artifact? All kinds of thoughts flashed through the minds of the prodigies. They were secretly shocked. His Majesty the Demon King and the Demon Empress are about to arrive. No noise in the Jade Lake. Qing Xia's phoenix-like eyes quickly swept across the many guests in the Jade Lake and shouted in a deep voice. There was an inexplicable aura in her voice. Boom, boom, boom. Teams of cold-blood killing guards quickly entered the Jade Lake from the outside. There was a guard every 3 steps and a guard every 5 steps. In the blink of an eye, the entire Jade Lake was guarded like an iron bucket. From the blood-killing guards, a terrifying, murderous aura was naturally emitted. It filled the air with an oppressive aura. At the same time, important officials in the 1,000 Demon City entered the Jade Lake one after another. King of Nightmare, Meng Shi, Hu Bai Susu, King of Rock, Tian Can, Huang Quan, Gord Luzi, Blissful Boy, Xie Sanyang, and so on. They all appeared in the Jade Lake. Welcome, Your Majesty, Empress. All of a sudden, the group of demons bowed respectfully in unison. On the numinous sky, throne on the 9-step stairway, Sakura, who wore a black emperor's robe, had already sat upright on the throne since an unknown time. His face emitted awe without being angry, and he emitted a shapeless pressure. The dense emperor's pressure made people not dare to look at him lightly. Beside him, Chunshi was dressed in a palace robe, graceful and luxurious. She exuded the temperament of a mother. There was no sign of them appearing, and no one noticed. It was as if they had already been sitting on the throne. This scene made the prodigies of the various races feel a chill in their hearts. Greetings, Demon King and Demon Empress. Even the experts sitting on the 20 thrones couldn't help but stand up at the same time and bow slightly to pay their respects. After the ceremony, Di Shirtian glanced at the Jade Lake and said, "Since everyone can come to the Jade Lake, you are all distinguished guests. Please take your seats." As soon as he finished speaking, the Immortality Peach banquet officially began. Maids quickly rushed out from all over the place, holding an archive of fruits, spiritual essences, delicious delicacies, and fine wine in their hands. They were placed in front of each seat. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 874. Every single one of these spirit fruits was a treasure that was hard to come by in the outside world. Jade condensing fruit, purple gold grapes, fire jujubes, and other spirit fruits were served to their respective seats. The wine was the best monkey wine. It was over 1,000 years old. Steaming hot, celestial treasures made everyone drool. Regardless of whether they flew in the sky, ran on the ground, or swam in the sea. They were all cooked into pots of celestial treasures that looked, smelled, and tasted celestial treasures. Just a whiff was enough to make one feel refreshed. Even those who could enter the jade pool were all peerless geniuses of a younger generation. When they saw the exquisite celestial treasures with their own eyes, they couldn't help but have the urge to secretly swallow their saliva. When they looked at the crowd of demons again, their gazes had changed. There was a hint of respect. Foundation. Everything in front of them unknowingly displayed the foundation of the demon race. They were definitely not the kind of upstarts that rose up overnight. The celestial treasures in front of them all had to be cultivated with a large amount of time. The celestial treasures that were cooked were filled with traces of reincarnation power. These weren't ordinary celestial treasures, but supreme celestial treasures made from the legendary reincarnation sacred spirit trees, Saint's spirit fruit. Supreme celestial treasures that even peerless powerhouses would scramble for. Yet, they were served one by one at the Immortality Peach Banquet. Even the Emperor dynasty wouldn't be able to take out such a huge sum. Dragon meat and phoenix livers were things that few dared to take out openly. But the demon race could. Moreover, it wouldn't arouse the hatred of the dragon race or the phoenix race. Because it wasn't their race that was slaughtered, but the fruits of the reincarnation sacred spirit tree. Only the demon race had such a foundation. Otherwise, if other factions or emperor dynasty tried to eat the dragon meat in front of the dragon race, thousands or even tens of thousands of true dragons would come knocking on the door immediately after eating today. Celestial treasures and celestial treasures were served continuously. A group of beautiful girls dressed in celestial robes quickly appeared in the jade pool. Along with the celestial music, they danced. Their dance was filled with endless beauty. Immortality Peach Banquet. I'll make sure you never forget. The ancient emperor sat in the center of his palace. Before him was a strange, ancient mirror. Within the mirror, scenes of the boundless void could be seen, including the 1,000-demon city. Hearing the waves of celestial music that resounded in the city, a faint mocking and cold laughter appeared at the corners of his mouth. He calmly spat out a sentence from his mouth. After saying that, he flicked his finger, and a golden light quickly flew out of the imperial palace. It was as if it was sending a mysterious signal to the outside world. Rumble. At this time, a huge golden island suddenly appeared out of nowhere in the endless void. It collided with the meteors and instantly shattered them. Countless golden dragons emerged from the island and issued sky-shaking roars. As soon as the battle island appeared, it immediately intimidated all directions like a mountain. A boundless pressure spread out from the battle island like a tide and quickly rolled towards the demon city. Countless golden dragon-shaped chi blasted towards the southern heaven gate. The southern heavenly gate unleashed an ancient divine glow on its own, shattering the domineering dragon-shaped force. What's going on? What a loud noise. The demon city seemed to have shaken just now. The ancient city is shaking. Is someone attacking the demon city? This is a supreme artifact. Unless one is a peerless expert, no one can break through this ancient city. Who is challenging the dignity of the demon city? Although the southern heaven's gate had shattered the force in an instant, the resulting explosion was like thousands of claps of thunder in the void. It instantly spread into the 1,000-demon city and entered the ears of countless demons and all heaven's cultivators. They couldn't help but be stunned for a moment before an uproar broke out. They all shifted their gazes from the nacre pool to the endless void. They were secretly discussing who had the guts to attack the heaven gate when the demon race was having their Peaches of Immortality banquet. This was a blatant provocation. Huh. In the jade pool, the group of demon race suddenly stood up. Their faces were filled with terrifying anger. Before the banquet could begin, it was directly stopped by this huge roar. Interesting. Indeed, someone wants to cause trouble during I's Peaches of Immortality banquet. I would like to see who has the guts to do so. D. Shirtian's face was expressionless as he spoke calmly. However, the experts in the Jade Pool felt an inexplicable chill in their hearts at the same time. The calmer they were, the more terrifying the anger in their hearts was. Once it exploded, it would be even more terrifying. However, they did not know that everything in front of them was within D. Shirtian's expectations. Lunatic D, you were right. There is really someone who is not afraid of death, and purposely chose to attack during the Peaches of Immortality banquet. However, you can't be careless. Since he knows that you are protected by the Demon City and still dares to attack, he must not be an ordinary killer move. Ming licked his lips excitedly. His eyes shone brightly as he shouted. Whoosh! D. Shirtian waved his hand in the air above the Jade Pool. Suddenly, countless ripples appeared in the air like a pool of clear spring water. They quickly formed a huge water mirror, and images appeared in the water mirror. The images of the Southern Heaven Gate and the endless void were all recorded in the ancient mirror. The huge Golden Dragon Battle Island appeared in the eyes of the experts in the Jade Pool. Isn't this the Golden Dragon Battle Island of the Eternal Emperor Dynasty? For it to appear here, could it be that the Eternal Emperor Dynasty is going to fight the demon race to the death? It was the Eternal Emperor Dynasty that attacked. A year ago, the Demon King suppressed the third prince's soul under the 4 heavenly gates, causing Zhu Wuqing to be humiliated and trampled on every day. This trampled on the Eternal Emperor Dynasty's face. It seems like the Eternal Emperor Dynasty is retaliating. Even an Emperor Dynasty emperor would not be able to tolerate such humiliation. The Jade Lake was filled with the elites of the Infinite Worlds. Almost instantly, they recognized that battle island in the endless void. In the blink of an eye, they had guessed the intentions of the ancient emperor. He was afraid that those who came did not come with good intentions. With the status of the Eternal Emperor Dynasty, he was confident that he could destroy the Thousand Demons City once he attacked. However, under the orders of the sovereign, he could not attack personally. However, in an instant, it attracted all the gazes of the crowd. Boom! Boom! Light flashed in front of the Southern Heaven Gate. 4 expressionless Blood Massacre generals came to the gate quickly. Behind them, there were 30,000 Blood Massacre guards in neat rows. Pairs of blood-red eyes stared coldly at the Golden Dragon Battle Island that stood in the endless void. Streaks of blood-red, killing intent burst out from their bodies like tidal waves. It condensed above the army formation, forming terrifying blood-red clouds. The extremely oppressive, murderous aura almost crushed the surrounding void inch by inch in a fine powder. The demon race is holding a Peaches of Immortality banquet. The Eternal Emperor Dynasty Emperor heard about it, and specially ordered me to send a congratulatory gift. Please accept it. At this moment, an old voice came from the Golden Dragon Battle Island. Although the voice sounded weak, it clearly landed in the minds of every demon race and cultivator in the Thousand Demon City. The moment the voice sounded, a purple gold cage drew a streak of light and broke through the void, quickly appearing less than 10,000 feet away from the Southern Heaven Gate. Boom! The purple gold cage stopped. It appeared in front of the cultivators of the various heavens. The cage was extraordinarily huge. It was over 10,000 feet in size. Every single one of the purple gold iron pillars had countless mysterious runes engraved on them. Each rune seemed to be imprinted with the great Tao and merged with the heavens and earth. They intertwined together to form the most terrifying cage. The cage was like an independent confinement of heaven and earth. Inside the cage, what appeared in front of everyone was a huge ice sculpture. The ice sculpture was vivid and lifelike. One could clearly see that in the huge ice sculpture, there was a strange old man in his 50s, dressed in rags and with disheveled hair. There was no trace of life on his body, as if he had completely lost his life. He looked like a strange old man who had gone crazy. However, for some reason, there seemed to be a mysterious power on this strange old man. Ever since he appeared, he had attracted the attention of all the people in the world to him. It was like a bright spot in the endless void. What is this? I've heard of this cage before. It was created by the most famous Tianjizi in ancient times. It's a heavenly Tao cage that can imprison peerless experts. It is said that even peerless experts would find it difficult to break out of the cage after entering it. Those who could be imprisoned in the heavenly Tao cage are all peerless experts. But why is it an ice sculpture? Who is sealed in that piece of ice? Not only is he imprisoned in the heavenly Tao cage, but he is also sealed in ice. Could this strange old man be some kind of killing god? But why have I never heard of such a fierce god in the world? Is the eternal Emperor dynasty planning to use this old man in the cage to deal with Demon City? This can't be a joke, right? This old man might have already died. How can he be a threat? What a joke. The moment the heavenly Tao cage was thrown out, this immediately attracted the attention of countless cultivators in the city of demons. However, when they saw what was inside the cage, they burst into an uproar of mockery. They didn't believe that the frozen old man could break out of Demon City. Smack! However, in the restaurant in the city, the know-it-all and the Demon King, who had been quietly watching the development of the situation, put down their chopsticks at the same time. A wine cup fell on the table subconsciously. The know-it-all's eyes were filled with shock and disbelief for the first time. He stared at the frozen figure in the heavenly Tao cage. He muttered to himself, "Impossible. How can it be him? Didn't they say that this guy had already died? How could he fall into the hands of the eternal Emperor dynasty and be sealed in ice? If this lunatic is released, I'm afraid there will be big trouble. The eternal Emperor dynasty must have been kicked in the head by a donkey. If this lunatic is released, the world will be in chaos. I can't take it anymore. I have to see the doctor tomorrow. What I want to do the most now is sleep." Chapter 875. Damn, I have a bad cold. Fortunately, I took some medicine and got a drip. I feel much better. Know-it-all's face no longer had the slightest bit of cynicism. He stared at the heavenly Tao cage with an incomparably solemn expression. Even he showed a cautious expression. It's actually him. This lunatic almost caused chaos in the world back then. The space ruler personally sealed him and sent him into the space-time fragments, exiling him in the space-time fragments. Logically speaking, it's impossible for him to come back. How could he fall into the hands of the ancient great emperor and be sent here? Does he really want to cause chaos in the heavens? The demon lord's pupils contracted violently. His gaze on the heavenly Tao cage became abnormally solemn. Back in the ancient times, this old lunatic fought with the heavenly execution. The heavenly execution, sword formation, forcefully knocked him down from the unparalleled realm to the ancient great emperor and destroyed his immortal body. He was forced to a dead end. In the end, he could only entrust his immortal primordial spirit to the void and merge with the heavenly Tao. Know-it-all shook his head and said sarcastically, "The heavenly Tao is the will of the heavens. A mere immortal primordial spirit is just a drop in the ocean. It would be strange if he didn't go crazy. If he goes crazy, it's hard to control." His heart trembled. Although this old lunatic was knocked down by the heavenly execution sword formation, his cultivation base and combat strength instantly rose to the terrifying peak of the unparalleled realm after entrusting his primordial spirit to the void. Once he went crazy, there were almost no people in the world who could control him. The damage caused was simply immeasurable. The demon lord's expression became a little ugly. He touched the quaint sovereign's token in his hand. He had the sovereign's token. The reason why he could control all the unparalleled experts in the heavens and the unparalleled realm and prevent them from personally attacking was because the sovereign's token had the terrifying power to send down the five decay of the heavens. It made those unparalleled experts extremely fearful and didn't dare to overstep their boundaries. It could be said to be a supreme killing weapon. However, against this old lunatic, even the sovereign's token might not be able to do anything to him. Demon Lord, I'm afraid the matter in front of us is no longer something we can control. If possible, we must inform the Demon Lord destiny, and space rulers as soon as possible. The know-it-all squinted his eyes, which flickered coldly. I'm afraid it's already too late. The three sovereigns ventured deep into the primal chaos one after the other. Unless there's really something that could topple the origin continent, it's impossible for them to return. The demon lord shook his head and said indifferently, "Crack." As the know-it-all and the demon lord were constantly considering countermeasures, they suddenly heard a strange crack from the cage of the heavenly Tao outside the city. In an instant, countless gazes fell on the cage. A tiny crack had appeared on the ice without warning. The crack wasn't large, but in the eyes of the all-heavens cultivators, it was like a terrifying signal. "Lunatic D, I'm afraid you're in trouble." In Nether Prison, Ming, who had witnessed the scene outside, said in a deep voice with a grave expression, "Then who is the one sealed in ice?" Tion had been staring unblinkingly at the ice for a long time. He vaguely sensed a suffocating and dangerous aura from the ice, as if he was an ant facing the entire world. Although the strange old man didn't show any signs of life, his withered body seemed to contain a mighty power that could destroy heaven and earth. That feeling caused the hair on his body to stand on end like needles. Even though he had expected someone to cause trouble at the Peach of Immortality banquet and give the monster race a slap in the face, under the ruler's order, all the Almighties who had reached the peerless realm were not allowed to do anything personally. Therefore, no matter how many schemes there were, they would be useless with the power of the Monster City. However, the heavenly Tao cage in front of him made him suspect that someone really wanted to kill him at all costs. Do you still remember the peerless demon I told you about in the land of exile? The one who uprooted half of Sky Pillar Mountain and refined it into the executing heaven sword? You mean the one in front of me is that peerless demon? No. Could it be the old lunatic who fought with him and left his primordial spirit in the void? Dishurkin's shock gushed out like a tidal wave. Ever since he heard that an expert really left his primordial spirit in the void in the land of exile, he had engraved it in his heart. Although leaving his primordial spirit in the void could give him unimaginable power in an instant and help him reach the peak of the peerless experts, it came at the price of madness. If he couldn't even retain his consciousness, he would be courting death. However, he didn't expect to face such an irrational lunatic in person today. Yes, Lunatic D, you have to be careful. This old lunatic's battle strength is extremely terrifying. Once he goes crazy, no one can control him. His primordial spirit is in the void and connected to the consciousness of the entire world. Even the 5 decay of celestial beings can't fall on him. Nether's fear had reached an extreme level. Although the 5 decay of celestial beings was a sharp sword that hung over the heads of peerless experts, it was because the world that gave birth to them was punishing them for taking away the essence of the world. In order to break away from the world, one had to bear the price of the 5 decay of celestial beings. The more one took from the world, the more terrifying the 5 decay of celestial beings would be. Since the old lunatic's primordial spirit was in the world and merged with the consciousness of the world, it was equivalent to being a part of the world and a puppet of the world. Naturally, the consciousness of the world wouldn't punish its own puppet, and the 5 decay of celestial beings couldn't fall on him. Once the old lunatic went crazy, it would be really hard to stop him. Ancient Emperor Dishurkin also thought of this in the blink of an eye. The ancient emperor was indeed ruthless and vicious. In his heart, he had already committed the name of the ancient emperor to memory. Go crazy. Dishurkin's eyes flickered with a dangerous light. He reached out to grab Chunxi's hand and patted it gently. He looked at the ancient mirror in the void again and said coldly, "You'd better not go crazy on me. You're scary when you go crazy, but I'll be even scarier when I go crazy." So what if it was the old lunatic? He wasn't afraid of him. Look, that piece of profound being is starting to crack. Is the weird old man still alive and about to break out? It's the old lunatic. This is going to be troublesome. The experts in the fairy pool were all knowledgeable. Their faces darkened when they thought of the old lunatic's identity. They all looked at the scene outside the southern heavens gate anxiously with a gloomy face. Crack! Crisp cracking sounds rang clearly in the ears of every cultivator in the ancient city. On the ice, tiny cracks spread rapidly in all directions at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just a few breaths of time, those cracks were like a spider web, densely covering the entire profound ice. Bang! The huge Xian Bing instantly collapsed under a huge force, turning into countless tiny fragments that shot out in all directions. Kill! 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 The frozen crazy Ol appeared in the cage of the heavenly Tao. His lifeless body suddenly erupted with an immeasurably powerful vitality at an incredible speed, but it disappeared in the blink of an eye. His messy hair fluttered wildly in the wind. He opened his eyes, which were full of turbidity and madness. He unconsciously let out battle cries. He quickly glanced around. That oppressive killing intent immediately pierced deep into the hearts of every cultivator. They were so scared that they almost vomited bile. The expression of slaughter, destruction, and destruction appeared in his eyes. Bang! Seeing the huge heavenly cage outside, the old lunatic's eyes became even crazier. He suddenly blew a breath forward. The airflow wasn't strong, and it wasn't an exaggeration to say that it was weak. But when it reached the heavenly cage, the mysterious runes on the cage were like ashes in an incense burner. They were completely blown away. With a loud bang, the heavenly cage that could imprison peerless experts was torn apart like a shabby thatched cottage. It was completely shattered. Hiss! Witnessing this scene, countless cultivators couldn't help but gasp at the same time. The heavenly cage, this is the heavenly cage that could imprison peerless experts. He blew it away with a breath. Who is this old man? How could he be so terrifying? This lunatic has such a strong killing intent. He's crazy. Will he attack the demon city? They were horrified, and an uncontrollable fear grew in their hearts. Ha! Old lunatic, hurry up and smash this damn demon city into powder. You were saved by His Majesty from the space-time fragments. Seeing the old lunatic walk out of the heavenly cage, an old shout came from the Golden Dragon Battle Island. At the same time, as if some spell was cast, a golden collar appeared on the old lunatic's head. It was worn on his forehead. Countless mysterious runes appeared on the golden collar and wrapped around his body. Kill! The moment the golden collar appeared on the old lunatic's head, he suddenly turned his head to look at the Golden Dragon Battle Island. His eyes were still crazy. Suddenly, he reached out his hand and flicked the golden collar on his head. Bang! The golden headband was destroyed inch by inch like a piece of rotten wood. In the blink of an eye, it was completely broken into countless pieces. Then, the old lunatic casually slapped the Golden Dragon Battle Island with his palm. A big hand that covered the sky appeared out of thin air above the Golden Dragon Battle Island and slammed heavily on the Battle Island at an astonishing speed. Countless dragon-shaped chi rushed up from the Battle Island, but under the big hand, it was destroyed on the spot. Not even the slightest resistance. It slammed on the Battle Island. Rumble. The Golden Dragon Battle Island, which was tens of thousands of feet in size and had reached the peak of the supreme grade, had countless hideous and terrifying cracks visible to the naked eye. It exploded all of a sudden. Countless fragments shot out crazily in all directions. A huge black hole appeared out of thin air and swallowed countless fragments around. The Golden Dragon Battle Island, which was at the peak of the supreme grade, could even withstand the attack of a peerless expert for a moment. It was completely destroyed in the blink of an eye. This terrifying scene fell into the eyes of the crowd, but it brought about a deathly silence. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidian.com. More chapters, support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 876. The heavenly Tao cage that could imprison a peerless expert was easily shattered. The Golden Dragon Battle Island that could withstand a brief attack from a peerless expert was smashed into pieces on the spot. The golden hoop used to imprison and control was instantly broken. In the eyes of Crazy Ole, these were just casual attacks, but they contained a terrifying power that could destroy heaven and earth. An invisible deterrent force swept across the boundless void from Crazy Ole's body. Clap! Inside the jade pool, a certain heaven's favorite couldn't hold back the shock in his heart. The wine cup in his hand fell to the ground and shattered into pieces. However, his mind still couldn't recover from the shock. His eyes widened in shock, and he was almost blinded by fear. My God, what a terrifying Crazy Ole! Even the Golden Dragon Battle Island could not withstand his attack and was easily smashed into pieces. This is not something an ordinary peerless expert can do. This attack, this battle strength is really terrifying. A supreme-level Golden Dragon Battle Island couldn't stop a single slap from him. Can a supreme-level demon city block his attack? He won't let anyone escape from him. Boundless fear grew in his heart. In the face of Crazy Ole's terrifying battle strength, even the all-heavens cultivators in the demon city were afraid and worried. The scene just now was too terrifying. This old lunatic. No, it all suddenly stood up, his eyes flashing with a golden divine radiance. There seemed to be an endless amount of power awakening within his old and decrepit body. His expression was unprecedentedly dignified. He said in a deep voice, "The demon city is the foundation of the demon race. No matter what, he cannot be allowed to destroy it. Demon King, don't blame me for ignoring the ruler's order this time. This is the first time I broke the rules." The moment he stood up, it was as if a terrifying giant was waking up. Kill! 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 You want to kill me, so I will kill all of you. All of you must die. When the crazy old man smashed the Golden Dragon Battle Island with a single palm strike, strange murmurs came from his mouth. His words were somewhat incoherent, and his consciousness was extremely chaotic. Countless thoughts were transmitted from the heaven and earth, causing him to be completely confused. His frenzied eyes quickly landed on the Thousand Demon City. His consciousness seemed to still be lingering in the scene of him fighting against that peerless demon back then. Everything he saw had to be killed. Di-Shirtian waved his hand and stood up from his throne. Celestial Emperor's chariot. With a shout, 9 domineering and ancient dragon roars came from the 10,000 Demon City. They contained a power that could shake one's soul. In the blink of an eye, it covered the entire ancient city. Rumble. 9 incomparably huge primordial dragons pulled the Celestial Emperor's chariot that was brimming with Emperor's aura. They quickly streaked across the sky and appeared above the Jade Lake. Indra glanced at Chun-Shi and nodded without saying anything. His figure flickered, and when he reappeared, he was already standing on the Celestial Emperor's chariot. Standing on the war chariot, his royal true force was connected to the war chariot. Endless majesty of the Emperor spread out in all directions like a tide, as if an ancient celestial emperor had descended. The Emperor's majesty was so strong that no one could look directly at it. It's the Celestial Emperor's chariot. His Majesty the Demon Emperor is on it. That's great. With His Majesty the Demon Emperor here, that lunatic will definitely be smashed to pieces. The appearance of the Celestial Emperor's chariot immediately made the eyes of the countless demon race in the city turn feverish. In the eyes of the demon race, Di-Shirtian was an omnipotent god. As long as he took action, any difficulty would be easily solved. The immemorial 9 dragons can form a battle formation. I wonder if they can contend against that old lunatic. The Demon Emperor is only in the ancient heavenly demon realm. If he really rushes out, I'm afraid he won't be able to stop that old lunatic's attack. That lunatic is too terrifying. Even the Celestial Emperor's chariot may not be able to stop him. However, compared to the demon race's fanaticism, the majority of the all-heavens cultivators did not seem to be optimistic. The old lunatic's previous actions had branded them with an undefeatable fear. Kill! 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 The old lunatic's cold eyes swept across the myriad demon city. He suddenly lifted his foot and was about to step into the city. Caw! Caw! However, right at that moment, a series of hoarse and extremely unpleasant crow cries suddenly sounded from the endless void. That cry was filled with penetrating power, and it immediately covered a large area. Everyone who heard it felt as if their heads were about to be pierced through, and their minds were trembling. Amidst the strange caw, the old lunatic who was about to walk into the myriad demon city stopped and turned his head to look into the distance. At the same time, the strange caw attracted everyone's attention. In the distance, in the endless void, the space distorted out of thin air and was rapidly destroyed. At the same time, a patch of dark clouds gushed out like a tidal wave. In the blink of an eye, they densely covered the endless void. A strong aura of death spread out in all directions. It covered the sky and covered the earth, occupying no less than 100,000 feet in an instant. Within the terrifying dark clouds, black crows of various sizes were frantically flapping their wings. Their cold eyes stared coldly at everyone, as though they were the grim reaper waiting to reap their lives. It sent chills down one's spine. There's so many crows and such a strong aura of death. Those eyes make me feel as though I'm already dead. Oh my God, these aren't ordinary crows. Could they be the legendary underworld crows that were born from death? How is that possible? How can there be so many underworld crows? Underworld crows, they're all underworld crows. How many are there? Hundreds of millions, billions, or even tens of billions. Oh my God, shouldn't the underworld crows have long been extinct? Why are there so many of them here? And their numbers are so terrifying. There's so many of them that even a peerless expert would have to avoid them. Could it be that these underworld crows are here for the myriad demon city? Look, what a huge underworld crow king. How can it be so big? It's at least 3,000 feet. Didn't they say that the growth of underworld crows is abnormally slow? Such a huge underworld crow king. How terrifying must it be? Many people screamed at the same time when they saw the underworld crows. Even though the geniuses in the jade pool were all geniuses, they couldn't help but turn pale when they saw it. They were filled with fear. Underworld crows. This was a taboo in the world. It was a terrifying life that was born from death, especially their innate ability, the gaze of the Grim Reaper. This was a terrifying attack that directly damaged the soul. Once it hit, even the soul would be destroyed. It was like the Grim Reaper harvesting souls. Not to mention the ancient giants. They could only choose one between the immortal body and the immortal primordial spirit. They were even more fearful of the underworld crow's attacks. And the peerless experts were also fearful. This was because the gaze of the Grim Reaper ignored all power. It could directly injure the immortal primordial spirit and cause damage to it. One had to know that the immortal primordial spirit was shattered into countless pieces. Even if there was a little bit left, it could be condensed and recovered again. But the gaze of the Grim Reaper could directly smash the primordial spirit fragments into powder and completely annihilate them. Even the immortal primordial spirit couldn't completely resist it. This kind of situation naturally made the underworld crows a taboo in the world. It had been completely destroyed in the ancient times. No one could imagine that there would be such a terrifying and huge group of underworld crows left in the world. Look, who's on the back of the underworld crows? I can sense a demonic aura from her. Could she be a demon? Could it be that an expert from the Yao clan has come to rescue us? After the flock of underworld ravens appeared, they immediately flew towards the location of the 1,000 Demon City. As they approached, a tall and cold lady wearing colorful scales appeared in front of everyone's eyes. This stirred up another round of discussion. Medusa, Underworld Raven King. Standing on the Celestial Emperor's chariot, Tion could not help but feel a trace of joy. He almost instantly recognized who it was. Croak, the huge Underworld Raven King, suddenly let out a hoarse and unpleasant cry. This cry was like some kind of order. Immediately, Countless underworld ravens gathered around it. Many pairs of cold eyes stared at Crazy Owl in an instant. Swish, swish. Strands of invisible power of death burst out of their eyes like tide waters, sweeping toward Crazy Old Man. Terrifying ripples of death appeared in the void. In the blink of an eye, it covered the old madman. Underworld ravens' innate ability, Death God's Stare. These underworld ravens are attacking Crazy Owl. Death God's Stare is one of the most terrifying abilities in the world. With so many underworld ravens using it at the same time, Crazy Owl will definitely be killed. They are indeed reinforcements. I wonder if Crazy Owl is stronger or these underworld ravens. In the midst of the uproar, a large group of cultivators began to watch the fierce battle in the void excitedly. They were looking forward to Crazy Owl being killed by the Death God's Stare. Roar, roar, roar. Crazy Owl was wrapped in the Death God's Stare. Countless streams of death power rushed into his body and quickly bombarded his immortal primordial spirit. For a moment, Crazy Owl was screaming as his body kept trembling. Suddenly, the entire world around him began to vibrate strangely. In the endless void, the wind and clouds suddenly changed. Countless dark thunderclouds kept flashing, letting out terrifying roars as if the world was facing some kind of terrifying attack. This is not good. Crazy Owl's primordial spirit is connected to the void and merged with the world. The Death God's Stare is attacking the entire world. Although the underworld ravens are terrifying, they are not enough to kill Crazy Owl. Dark immediately judged. Crazy Owl had left his immortal primordial spirit in the void, causing him to go completely crazy. However, the price he paid was also terrifying. Not only was he not afraid of celestial decay, but his primordial spirit was also protected by the world, making it extremely difficult to attack him. This was also the reason why Crazy Owl was not seriously injured, even though he was screaming. "I'll kill you all." Crazy Owl screamed and slapped the underworld ravens with his hand. To be continued. If you want to know what happens next, please go to www.chijian.com and read more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.